Hello and welcome back to the B stream here as we are lining ourselves up for what is our final matchup. W7m taking on Bleed. And I've just heard some news about Bleed, but we won't go into that too much yet before it is visual, because it is, you know, they had Joel.
Yeah.
They've brought a friend, apparently.
Something new, yeah, for our eyes. You know, there are those and those kinds of teams. There are teams that are boring, there are teams like Bleed that just, they blow things wide open for fun. I love it.
I wish more teams were like that. Just having a bit of fun on the side, but most of them are so serious, just focused on winning, nothing else.
Speaking of Bleed, if things stay the same way that they've been so far, it's gonna be a quick day. 0-2s across the board for Stream
for sure.
B. No one's gone even into overtime, I don't think, really. So it's been pretty one. Actually, no, M80 VP had an overtime game, but the rest was pretty fast.
Yeah, just came off the back of that. We also followed the schedule to 2-0 Bleed, but do we believe in that?
I gotta be honest, no. I think it will be 2-0, but not for Bleed. I'm so sorry, but like W7m against a team like Bleed, there's just like, there's a mountain of difference of experience.
Yeah, two major championships.
Yeah. Yeah,
so a couple runner-up spots in SI last year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, that's some of the best players in the world. You see about here, Philip, Nate, Hertz, Casey, and JV92. I'm in a fantasy league with Jesse, and I picked JV as my first pick for my league, and I have not been disappointed so far. It's been great.
So you have two different motives of watching this game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I have motives.
You are hoping that JV is going to be acing every single round.
Yeah, planting, acing, doing all the things.
It's going to be a 40-0.
It'll make me happy, that's for sure.
60, 70 kills for him.
That's what Fantasy League does for you, though. You get more invested into these things.
No, that's for sure.
And then we got the good old Bleed, the boys. The highest sense in the game, I believe. Reaps, 96.
I don't know how he does it, because you're looking at his hand, and it just doesn't move. And you see the entire screen just go left, right, center, and just complete 180 flicks. And it's like, that is insane. Like, I wouldn't be able to play like that. And I used to have a high sensitivity. But there it is. There, you spot it?
You see it?
You see it?
The back.
No, I haven't seen Joel.
Joel is
Where's
missing.
that Joel on the desk? Might be Joel on the desk.
There's something laying there.
There's definitely something standing there. There's Joel.
There's Joel. He's sleeping.
He's sleeping today. I'm just gonna say it's the mannequin in the corner, just showing off the jersey.
That's pretty smart, actually. Like, you can show off your merchandise as an orc by having a mannequin behind the players.
It doesn't show really good like this, right? Like, there's monitors in the way, and like, sure, when you get the close-up shots, you get a bit better of the jersey. But like this, you can just portray everything. Portray caps as well if you want, or beanies. So, honestly, Bleed is playing 4D chess at this moment.
And I mean, there was M80 and Bleed did a collaboration merge, right? I believe, as well. So they got some
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, boy. I'm looking at this. Yeah, I'm seeing Clubhouse into Oregon into Border, and I feel worse for Bleed now than I did before, because these are maps where it is not going to be easy. Like, fighting 1-to-1 on Oregon Border, impossible against W7m, and strategically on Clubhouse, also impossible against W7m.
I'm just going to say what I have for the last year. Clubhouse, W7m, played it 14 times. They won it 11 times.
Okay.
Bleed. That was it. There's just nothing there.
Okay, that's it.
Snap. I hope for Bleed. Truly, I do. You might last, considering JV92, but it's going to be a very difficult matchup for them. But if we really want to check off the whole bingo card, a team from the previously known APAC region needs to upset one of those big teams. And is there really a bigger team right now than W7m?
It's a good point. This would be a huge story for them, of course. And it's not that I want to count them out like, oh, they're going to get slaughtered. Like, they have no chance. It's just that realistic expectations have to be set, and that is a W7m victory one way or another.
I think the predictions, once we get into them, will also be relaying that. But we also do have to say Bleed, of course, went into an amazing run in the previous major. That's where they brought famous Joel, and the entire crowd was bringing their brothers as well.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend is afraid of fish. She didn't really enjoy that major because there was constant shots of fish being showed up. But you know, it's something that she had to learn to live with.
Imagine being afraid of fish that are not even in water. Like, they can't even live up here, you know?
Some can actually. There is some fish that
you had to ruin it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Damn. Okay. I mean, fish are complicated, I suppose, you know? But yeah, Joel was a good story. I love that.
It was a good story.
Yeah. And again, as I said, I wish more teams would kind of implement their own storylines, because, yeah, there's Siege and there's the players themselves, but what else can you bring to the table?
Yeah, that's it. We need to have a little bit of that personality outside of it, and that's definitely something that we have a lot of with Bleed.
83%?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said, right? Like, it's going to be reflected by the eventual also come through from the viewers back at home.
Reap saying have fun. Asvi saying have fun. No response from W7m because they're not here to have fun. Hoven said, good luck, we will need it.
What about you will need it, right? It's like, that's the way to get into their mindset.
You know, some people, they talk smack, and some people, they're just so kind that you don't want to hurt them, but I don't think the reigning back-to-back major champions give a damn about the opponent's feelings because they want to lift the hammer, and this is just another stepping stone for them to overcome to get one step closer towards that trophy itself. And while we're talking about that, operator bans they're going through, Grim having a significant ban rate today, not commonly banned on maps like Cafe, here on Clubhouse as well, sometimes on Oregon. Then it's going to be W7m banning out the Monty, and it's going to be them banning out the Tubaru. Now, if you watched W7m previously, they do tend to prefer to ban out the new operator off Tubaru because they want to play in the meta that they thrive the most in, which is before he came out. So it makes sense to keep things potato, don't change it up too much. We know that teams can often crutch Monty, and W7m, they don't need that kind of crutch, so why not remove it from play from their opponents?
It's especially on Clubhouse, right? You start thinking of the Garage and just how much the Monty can really do with neutralizing the entirety of mezzanines, and you're going to have to start to bring Legion and Frost and like other operators just to counter the one Monty. If you just ban it, you don't have to think about that at all, and you just have that freedom to truly play. Now, Bleed will be starting off onto the defense, and as we are headed into the basement first, we are seeing some of those powerful defenders to come through. We're seeing the Izami, one of the Architect operators, the Warden, which I think has received a unintended buff with the grenade nerf, because everybody's bringing flashbangs now. It's like the amount of people that we've seen full white, like today and yesterday, Warden just immune to that.
Yeah, well, there's a caveat, right? Only
there is a caveat,
if you actually use the gadget, which we've also seen a
which
couple
is
of times.
difficult to press, the middle mouse button, you know?
Yeah, I think it was actually, I don't remember what play it was, but I saw yesterday that there was someone who got flagged. I was like, you should use your gadget here, buddy. And it's like, he just did not do it. Now, we've also seen people use EMPs to counter ward, no? Like when Nesk played
exactly.
yesterday.
Yeah, so that's kind of the thing. People are like, why do you use your gadget? Well, there is such a thing as EMPs. I know we've gone a long while without Thatcher being in the actual rotation.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's still there, and especially for operators like Warden, great way to actually shut down the opportunity to use that gadget. First engagement starts.
Oh,
that is painful. Hers just finding Hoven, and that was definitely not the gunfight they were intended to take. It was definitely towards Reaps on the red stairs.
I mean, already there we see kind of the gap being shown. W7m, they storm into the building in 10 seconds time. Already on main staircase is Hurt as well, who's a heart breacher, by the way. And yeah, you're gonna have Hoven swing for one player, but the second person's holding that doorway as well from the main door, so you're always fighting 2v1 against W7m.
Hayes gets taken down though. Reaps will be defending the CCTV side. And of course, this is probably as far away as you can go from the actual side as you can inside a Clubhouse. But you still will need to deal with him because he can come in the back as soon as you start to go for an execute. And then it's going to be trouble. So Reaps falling back into cash. Going to be waiting patiently. Drones just came out. They know he's going to be out here. Just need to try and find a way to isolate him. And that's it. Fox very quick on the trigger there.
Very quick. I mean, it looked like a pre-fire on my screen, that's for sure. And that's going to conclude the roam game. There are 3 defenders back downstairs on the bomb site itself. W7m, of course, is still got to double check everything, drone out the map, and then they got to start that second phase of this round. Open up the hatches, gain information on the bomb site itself, and then go for that third phase of the round, the execute. They can go for a church attack, a blue attack, a kitchen hatch drop. They really can go for any option. It comes down to what their RGLs, what their intel gathers, what they deem is going to be the easiest for them.
Of course, there's nothing that really denies any of the walls or hatches to be opened except for impact grenades. Actually, was a little bit too quick for me to complete my sentence there. He only has 1 left, and that means that the next set of Excaros is just going to be opening up that hatch unless someone else has any. No, there's just a C4 on Turk. Do you really want to use it for that? No, he's going aggressive, though, as he finds one inside a motorcycle, brings it back to a 3-3. The next person, JV92, is already lined up for the kills.
It's scrappy there. I think they was going to a drone or something. He couldn't even fight back or move from that position as Davies forced into this kind of corner position. The key to barriers, said Architect Operator, very hard to deal with nades being nerfed and not that much soft breach available, was Casey died earlier on.
Great flick there from JV92. The flashbang comes in as he almost goes down, but a shotgun, but still manages to live. Need to make a push now. Mentalist right behind the bar, going aggressive with that shotgun. Flashbang still in pocket though for the side of W7m, which they could use, but he misses both. Just shoots in the middle and gets down. Actually now going into blue, but gets shut down by Herds as well. A very clean round to some extent for W7m. No, they lost 2 members, almost 3, but it is the basement. It is a very tough side to attack.
No, that's true. This is kind of where defenders are supposed to win, if anything. And if attackers end up winning it instead, it's a massive victory for them. And the worst thing is, when you lose basement on your opening round, do you have the confidence to go back-to-back, maybe lose twice in a row? Or do you instantly go to a secondary bomb site elsewhere? Because Clubhouse, it has 4 bomb sites, all 4 are very much playable. Although Bar does take a little bit more preparation and planning, I would say, to bring it out. So we'll have to see if Fleet has that, up their sleeve. But they will change for now to Gym. They'll go upstairs. Very different kind of way that this plays out. You don't have to worry about the whole roam doom and the criticality and problem solving as an attacker either. It's more like you have your master bedroom, you have your gym, and most teams will then extend to the right-hand side of your screen to CCTV cache. Stay there for a little bit, like we saw the roam last round, and then that will usually define the round if you can clear out those players or if you get stuck in CCTV as an attacker.
Now, I will never really, be in the real mindset anymore of do we rotate or not, because, when I used to play competitive in Tier 3, by the way, I'm no big shot.
Not even Tier 2? Just Tier 3?
I tried Tier 2. I got shut down by G-Bots, who eventually made it to the Challenger League and Pro League afterwards. But at that point, Clubhouse hadn't been reworked yet. So,
okay.
so there was only 2 valid sites at that point. It's a very long time ago. That was just CCTV in the basement that was still valid at that point. So, that was definitely, bringing it back towards the basement if you wanted to.
Jesus. I mean, I remember old Clubhouse was like, basement was good, and then everything else kind of sucked. You didn't really want to go
CCTV was okay-ish, but you don't really want to go there either because there was only 1 valid site at that point. But opening kill will be for Bleed in this instance. Herds will go down. A pretty good impact last time around. Will be able to drop down through the hatch, which I'm still guessing to some extent as well. He's already putting up some pressure onto the CCTV side of things. Now, of course, you don't really need to take the full map here, but you do often want to take control of CCTV and cache, just so you have that extra bit of pressure to come through, so you can start pushing yourself into construction, into logistic from more than just the hatch drop, and then you can start flooding into the site.
That's exactly it. Now the question is, without a block downstairs, without an Ash, soft breach, etc., how will W7m deal with these players inside a CCTV and cache room itself? Because besides fighting it 1-to-1, I guess they can hard breach the wall. But no, it's jammed. Yeah, exactly. So they can't even do that. So now they're kind of in a pinch here. EMP goes out. They're going to hit that next step, but it comes down to gunfights.
Didn't get either. It's further out in the corner, so I believe there's 2 placed, and the other one is currently blocked now, as you see right there. So they need to remove it from that current position as the shotgun goes aggressive. We'll find 1, we'll find 2 somehow. He should have been shot down after the first one that missed. Keys now looking to go on a bit of a recovery mission out here together with Nate, but the Izami barriers are really blocking everything off. Every avenue they make is just being shut down right afterwards again.
I mean, this is tough. I mean, I feel like W7m, they're good at kind of changing how much they will commit to strategy versus gunfights based on the enemy that they're playing. Maybe a slight, underestimation here of their opponent, because Bleed, they're holding very well onto this ground here inside of Cache. Hoven's still alive. As I say that, he dies, of course, cast the curse and all that. But it's still a 2v4, 45 seconds left. Progressing this map right now against 2 different crossfires in office and master bedroom is not going to be easy whatsoever, no matter how good you are as a team.
And you also see some restructuring coming in from the side of Bleed. Some castle barricades were being ripped down from Jacuzzi towards Gym, also creating extra lines of sight so they could really play into, these long angles as they went through. But with the defuse now being dropped inside of construction, well, Kays, he's going to have to go for an amazing kind of player as he finds 1, confirms that, but gets shut down right afterwards. So Bleed equalized the score.
And I gotta say, Bleed did a great job at playing together in pairs here. Mentalist and Reap swings together on the cache store, not, giving anybody any single gunfights there to maybe make a clutch possible, because how most clutches appear is when the opponent makes a mistake, right? They get a little bit of room, they make a gap somewhere, and then the clutch player takes advantage. By swinging together like they do right here, they shut down Casey before he can even start making that miracle clutch a reality. So good stuff there, good discipline. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see from Bleed, and that's what they've shown us already in round number 2. With that round being won, however, instead of going to CCTV up bar, they will go back downstairs. Newfound confidence, right? They just had success. Relatively different lineup. The Kaid, of course, being brought out. The Goyo, the Solace. this could be a very, early roam. Play with killing some drones, shut down some of those entries, fall back to side. You can stall out the Fenrir, hit the Glue Mines, the Kite Claw, the Goyokenes, etc., and try to burn down the clock for W7m.
And it was an expensive way to get rid of a drone, using the impact to get it to the roof. And I mean, it is a very difficult drone to kill, I guess. You might have to go up to the mezzanines. But Turd also has a different job, which is to reinforce those garage walls. If he goes all the ways up, tries to hunt that drone, who will ring around the rosy with him, he cannot reinforce that wall. If he lets go of it, the drone is there in a pre-placed position, so he decided to go for the middle part of it, which does deny some information. And as we look at the current setup, I thought for a second they were only going to go for a single heart breach, but again, they've brought the full 3 here, so really wanting to make sure that they can open up whatever they think is needing to be opened up.
The classic, right? You want to bring out your heart breach, so to deal with the hatch and walls, but because the Kite available, you want the Thatcher, you want the Maverick. There are so many solutions here on Clubhouse, and if you're a flexible team, you can really just pick exactly what you want to have to deal with. And then of course you get Capital. Fire, the smoke, always great pieces of utility for roam clearing, for bomb site, etc. And W7m, they will challenge the roam first before doing anything else.
Trying to bait down Ashley to go for a bit of an aggressive swing. He's like, come chase my drone down. Now he's going all the way through. It's like you can maybe chase it that way, but he's just staying put. He's not going anywhere until he gets down in the gray. Philippux will find him, shuts him down as well, and brings the advantage towards W7m. You instantly see a bit of a response coming in from Bleed. They need to fall back. They can no longer hold on to that top floor, so instead they'll start to, well, bunker it down into the basement.
And you see here how phenomenal W7m they are at roam clearing. I mean, they had everything pinned down there. Asfi was stuck in the corner. If he moves, he dies. If he stays around, he dies. There is no way out for him besides hitting a ridiculous pre-fire shot without any actual intel. And that, right there, that's going to strike fear into the other players. But Hoven has something to say about that. He actually stuck around somehow despite that. What?
He gets a second
flashbang, gets a second kill as well. And he got some of the pellets on the bar hatch, denying that from being opened up. Hoven might just have saved the round for his team.
I think he might as well has. Flashbangs coming through. They know he's still going to be up there. There's no other way. He could have gone down towards the basement. It's going to be double swung, shut down from the back. But he's wasted a lot of time. He's taking out Philippux. He's taking down Herds. And that means extra third charges have to be used now to open up these hatches. And that means Kitchen will stay closed as well. There's no way JV92, with his right mind, is going onto that hatch to open it with C4 still in play. He's going to die if he does so. So he's going to have to use that elsewhere. Maybe if they want to go for like the triple wall opening, for example. That's when you can make a line of sight. Nothing more than that due to the opening that he's just seen on that drone.
That's true. They have very limited options here. They just got to go for it. Down blue stairs to go in case he might open things up here, but he has no support this time.
Smoke there just to block off the line of sight of one. FNAC coming through, but Nade in the meantime will find Turd. Opens up the opportunity to move through for JV92 as the plane goes down. Reeves is trying to go aggressive, but gets shut down in the meantime as well. Mentalist, the last man standing, he cannot fall because of that small bit still being there. It's W7m that will shut them down as a result of it. It was a great effort from the flank to come through, shutting down the Hibana pallets and 2 players while completely blinded. But W7m, 2 major champions under the belt for only this year. It's not like they've done so over the last 8 years. It's only this year. So they do have that resilience to just bounce back on these kind of setbacks.
Well, they do, and the thing is, I kind of want to talk about Hoven because he made such a great play getting the 2K to 9, the Hibana pillars and the bar heads, etc. But there's always this fine line you have to play on, especially with decision making. And he chose to stick around near the bar pool table when he could have gone all the way to the strip club instead, and forcing them to either chase him or have a guy hold him actively, making that a 2v2 on side, or no one is holding him and you could go for a flank again. He died, in my opinion, a little bit too early in that round. Could have stalled for more time. He got swung 1 versus 2. He wasn't realistically going to get out of that successfully. But again, he did put in so much work beforehand. Can you really blame him for making 1 wrong decision after making 3 correct ones?
No, for sure. And if he would have gone to strip, he would have been fighting just a single angle, whereas he's had to all 2 now. And then you might be able to get away with 1 kill before the second one trades you out. I mean, that's always the thing, right? Like, you don't want to go too far away because you still want to be able to rotate back in time if the site gets hit, because what you just did. But if you go too far away, then they might just be like, okay, we'll put up a flank drone and forget about him until he starts to move back. So it's a rough balance to strike, and especially when you're one of the lesser experienced players. That's just, the thing of it. It's they aren't the most experienced team, Bleed. They have a lot of experience, but they aren't one of those, you know, regular stays at the majors. Made it last time. They're here now at SI because of that. They're still growing in their potential.
Well, for sure. They're still learning, and one of the biggest takeaways for a team like Bleed or any team from a region or team specific that doesn't qualify all often is when you go to these international events, get as much experience in scrims as possible and hit some disgusting shots. Reeps once again opened things up for his team. Hertz gets shut down again on the entry, denied any space in the map. And again, when this tends to happen for W7m, that's when they struggle the most. It's when they lose members early on. But they can also get scrappy. They can pull this back together. But I will commend Bleed here. They are holding onto the map quite well, playing actively in bar, not giving up free space unless they need to.
Now the thing is, it's CCTV, so you do not need to have full control. You can basically get away with opening up the balcony walls, and by taking Garage. That's all you really need. As long as you have someone down below to stop any C4 play from there, you could go for a plant. You can theoretically get away with it. So maybe leaning back into those basics now is what they're doing, is they have construction. You see some of the walls opening up. A lot of damage taken by Cage there. I believe there was an impact that got tossed up to the roof whilst he was standing up on the planks. A bit of unnecessary damage, but either way, I think that's what they were trying to go for.
We only have a single Selma charge now on the A, so they can get a way in, but it's not going to be ideal. That crouch hold or vault angle is not what you want to see, and Nade actually rotating away from construction and instead going for the main breach, I believe. A change up here from W7m as a trade comes through as well. Still favoring Bleed, but this is the last hard breach from the attack inside.
Yeah, I was going to say, they haven't opened up main wall yet, so you really would expect them to take that under control. As you do see that the garage is being retaken by Reeves. Still some utility there, keeper barriers and frost mats as well, so it's not going to be a very easy take for W7m if they want to take that. Actually, with someone challenging it, that being Reeves with the SMG hitting that nasty shot, but unaware of the fact that there was someone on the breach. It's going to be very painful for them. Filopox in the middle of the side as well. They could try and go for a plant, but first they need to find a player that's on the top of red.
These screw mines, they're hard to deal with. The thing is, W7m, they don't know exactly what's going on right now because Bleed, they're doing this weird rotation back to garage.
One still waiting on the red stairs. There is going to be the Thunderbird station out there, but gets shut down. Nate, now the last man standing, there's 15 seconds. He has to try and go for the kills, but they're aware of that as he sees him fade away. There's no time for him to try and find his fight and go back for the diffuser. There's a shield there that he's hiding behind. He gets fully healed by the Kona stations, but that round is over. Well done by Bleed as they managed to, well, basically keep themselves into that trading game and make sure that W7m really wasn't able to get the advantage out there.
Oh my, I mean, I do want to say, like, if you are Bleed and you want to throw W7m for a spin, do something that they will not see all that often in practice or in professional games, and that is play the oddball. Like, they go for a very absurd rotation where they give up the bomb site entirely, go back into the garage with the flank watch, forcing W7m deep in towards the cache side of the bomb site, and then they collapse in both top red and garage flank at the same time. It's actually perfect. I don't know if it was completely intended to be played out that way, but what Bleed did was actually phenomenal in that round. And W7m, they couldn't figure it out. Despite the Kona station heal, despite the yellow pings coming out, they had the intel, but they couldn't really capitalize on it in that previous round.
I still think they could have gotten away with a plan if they just would have gone to the other side of the server stack and have the person wait in the cache door would have pushed to come in from the red stairs, because he would have to walk by the broken wall out there. And the player in the garage is just too far away to make anything really happen at that point, especially because you would be on the other side of the server rack. But that's the thing, we have the all-seeing eye.
Yeah.
We don't know what drones they still had up and with what information they were working with. For all they knew, they were already all the way up the mezzanines at that point.
Yeah. Of course, a good point. It's easier to say, ha, I could do better than these guys, right?
If I had overlays.
If you had 1x, basically, yeah. I know everything. I will make the right decision. And speaking of that, we know Impact Grenade about to be run out here from Turret. He hears the repel. That's what they tell outside. But look at that. They do know it as well. They're
the mag dump as well.
The mag dump. I mean, this is just beautiful. And now I am curious if they had a pre-placed drone somewhere that caught the rotation, or if that is just pure game sense or preparation study where they say, oh, they tend to run out of stripped ore with an Impact Grenade when we go for the repel, because they were so ready. It almost looked like they spawned there on purpose with the intent to get that specific kill to start the round off in an advantageous position.
I mean, that must have been like information they would have gotten from scrims or some way, right? Because they haven't played it in officials. As in the meantime, oh, that's too late.
Yeah.
Bender is going to be too late, has to rotate around, and that means the wall has been opened up. And Jacuzzi, and that is something that they didn't really have the last time around when they came for the bedroom approach, W7m. So I would say they're already one leg up compared to last time they attacked this.
Now the question is, how much ground do they want? Because you can get away with simple takes, office hatch, jacuzzi breach, construction breach. You don't need CCTV unless you care about it. And the fact that Ying is on the board now for Philly Parks kind of tells me that they can go for a more simplistic approach as long as those Candelas and smoke grenades are available, with Amara as well, of course. Yep. Before they go in and go all crazy, it will be an equalization in the 4v4.
I was going to say, like that Hurt is playing outside that staircase as the Candelas are starting to come through, and that means an execute is on the way. Reaps will go down. I mean, in the meantime, Herds is in as well with the Amarugara. Hook has the opportunity to play quite close, and they just start falling with every single angle, aware of the fact that Hoven was coming in from the flank, and only Asu left behind the weights now. He will find one, nothing more than that as Fieldpuck shuts him down. So, beautiful ramp from W7m. It all started off with that perfect read on the run out, and after that, open the walls, get ourselves ready, 3, 2, 1, go! And they find themselves with a beautiful victory.
Oh, it's a round where they are in full control from the start to the very end, and often when we see the defending team pop a C4 from below, you're like, okay, he's gonna be in bar, we can count like 5 seconds or so, then he's gonna be on main stairs. But W7m, the second they heard the C4, there was no hesitation. They immediately turned around, expecting him to pop it late, being close to that staircase. So again, they just have either good intel or a really good read on the game in these moments, in these rounds. And they're 3-2 now, looking at that 4-2 half on this final round when they're on the attacking side.
And, you know, right now it looks like it's a close game, but you really, with the current meta that we're seeing inside of SI, it's been relatively defense-sided. You should be aiming for a 4-2 split. Now, Clubhouse has been pretty 50-50 over the last couple of years, especially with CCTV no longer really being a solid option to defend regularly.
Yeah.
It really only stays down towards the basement, which should be a guarantee win. And then the bedroom, which is like a 50-50 whether or not you should win it. And considering W7m was able to take down the armory twice, and we're back in the armory, it is not looking too good for them.
Well, I always love to say that if you are a good attacking team, you will find success on Clubhouse because it's all about problem solving different scenarios, and there's always many different approaches to do that. Different operators, different takes from different locations, of course, and we've already seen these first 5 rounds, different ways to attack the same bomb site, as we've seen Gym being played twice and Basement being played twice. So it's no surprise to me that for the 3rd time here, they will again, W7m, change up their operators. Sophia now seeing play. Back on the buff vertical destruction, they want more of a maybe a default take, roam clear the map, break off from the floor inside of kitchen, then go for the side. And Bleep 2 are playing more laid back right now. They're not aggressive in your face on the staircases. They're not roaming inside a blue staircase early in the round. They've given more space now to the attacking team and say, we'll meet you on the side 5v5. We think we can take you there.
There's still 2 Electric Claws left in the pocket of Mentalist, and he's playing inside a dirt tunnel. I actually just rotated back out. I was going to say, he's playing inside a dirt tunnel right now, so I'm not really sure what he was trying to do and achieve right there, but it's obviously just to keep that kitchen hatch shut. I want to force him into a different kind of play, and Herd's just being patient there, waiting for Reeps to go for a second time around and shuts him down as he does. But with that Electric Claw being there, and basically being indestructible because there's no real way they can get it, I believe. Maybe with the impact from the Zofia concussion if they manage to bounce it off right.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's no real way. I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing another motorcycle take to come through.
They might have to.
Might just decide to not care about that side at all.
I mean, as you said, like, JV on Maverick does not want to get near that most likely because it's a... Usually you'll die to C4.
I don't even know why he's playing Maverick. He's not done anything with the blowtorch yet.
It's more of like a in case we need it, right? It's like, hey, right now it's fine because Motorhead wasn't Kite trick, but...
Like if we lose Herds or Nade, then we still have the backup.
Yeah, and it's like, until then, JD is just like a free gun. He can become an entry, he's got flashbangs, he's got a great weapon. He's more of like a loose element right now that's yet to be utilized. And yeah, they'll go for dirt. They're gonna go blue. It'll probably be a backside take in the scenario, but the diffusers are nade on the Moto hatch of all places. So I'm not sure what the real intent is here. Maybe a collapse from all sides with a primary goal of planting inside a church.
Maybe getting through right now, of course, can destroy that evil eye with the blowtorch if he wants to. Turd goes down by the side of K's as it is W7m trying to collapse. They find themselves in all over places on the side. Hoven is digging himself in deep right behind the bar, trying to make a last stand that will be making a lasting impression. Mentalist coming back outside of dirt is hoping to make it stick, but he's the last man standing. No longer standing, and it is W7m that closed the half with a 4-2, using the Kibba barriers that have been tossed up by the defense against them even as they try to retake. And that basically just shows you that as soon as Reeps fell inside the blue, there was no real protection anymore for that side of the map.
Oh, you're right. And I mean, from the beginning there, the trigger discipline, just holding angles, getting that early kill to like the absolutely pixel perfect collapse from Blue, Moto Door, and even Casey found himself basically next to Dirt Tunnel for a moment there as well. Full control for the attack inside of W7m, and that's going to conclude the half. Things will now change. Side swap has begun, and to no surprise, where Bleed started, well, so will W7m. Basement is just that good of a bomb site, and again, so many different ways to do it. We've not seen Bleed do this setup. They're playing Castle now, for operators. Castle Mute could be that good old SSG roam, as it once was called, where you'll get upstairs, you'll deny some drones, hold the map control, jam out those breaches, and slow down the attackers.
I really love the castle in the oil pit because it's such a ratty strat. You can just lay underneath it and shoot them down, and they cannot hit you because, like, you're underneath behind the staircase. So even if they go prone, they can't see you. Well, so you can just see half their body from underneath that little gap. Of course, I don't think they will do that, but it is an opportunity that you create for yourselves. Birds looking to go for a spawn peek. Will he land? Yes, he does.
Pre-fires it.
I think he might have even saw like a little bit of the barrel started shooting at that moment in time, but that is painful. Losing your buck like that. I'm not sure if he had heart breach gadgets. I believe he did. So that really only brings it down towards Hoven and Nasty for the rest of it.
He did have it, yeah, that's true. So, yeah, you're right. Less heart breach utility. Ying now, I mean, the thing is, when you're playing the lineup that Bleed is currently playing, like Bach, Hibana, Ying, Habitat, and Dokkaebi, every single operator is such a high-value pick. If anyone dies, you're losing a significant portion of your strategy. Bach dies, okay, you lose a little bit of your heart breach, but you lose all your soft destruction. Yeah. Exactly. If Ying dies, that's your bomb site execute enabling operator. Same with Capitao. Dokkaebi's for the roam clear or for chaos during the execute. And Hibana is your only true heart breacher. So no matter what happens here, it's really bad if anybody dies, but someone's got to do entry work. Oh, he gets locked out on the Kiba.
It's such good timing. He's just going to throw in a second one. He's like, I want to take this dirt tunnel, and suddenly the Kiba barrier pops up.
No drone, though. He's dry checking all these corners. It's a risky business.
R6 will find the very first, though, onto Hoven before the strike back comes in, but W7m still really leading the charge. Mentalist now having one of his Candelas caught off by a magnet, but there is going to be a Kiba barrier that will force him to go into a crouch or prone position if he wants to take this fight. There's 3 guns aimed at his position right now. There's even shots being sent through the soft out there. You're not really going to be able to do anything. You need to walk up and punch it out first or find the 3 kills. So Mentalist is just in a dead position right now. He needs to rotate around and try and help Turret. That's exactly what he's doing, but a lot of time has been wasted already.
Yeah, and even if you squat up here, you got what? Walk down bottom main, you got some smoke.
That's all I have.
Exactly, you got 2 smokes, 2 flashbangs. You don't have any other options here, but this is not going to be pretty.
Oh, the diffuser's down.
Oh yeah, that's in spawn, I guess.
Was it the buck?
Oh, down blue stairs.
Okay, down blue stairs. So it's not the buck that died there, but it is still a long way to go. So even a plant isn't really an option right now. They need to go for like kills at this point. Yep. They're not going to recover it. It takes way too much time.
Not gonna get any kills either. They get slaughtered the moment they get down the main staircase. W7m, they are everywhere on the map, and they are not there single-handedly. They got crossfires, they got multiple bodies, and they are seeking out the attackers. They own the full map in that round.
For a second, I think we are headed towards CCTV, but we're having a timeout to be called out. It is going to be Bleed. Having a little bit of a chat.
No, we haven't spoken about this actually, but since Bleed calls a timeout, who's behind there, right? It's Julio himself, the former member of W7m, who's now coaching Bleed for the 6 Invitationals. And that's one of the big things that they did. Coming to Invite, they've been working with Julio to prep for the event. I believe they bootcamped as well to get some experience before SI.
Like 2 weeks?
Yeah. So they've been really preparing for this event specifically. They go up against W7m this early on. That sucks. But every team that plays this W7m, no matter how good you are, it sucks because they are currently the best team in the world, basically. But the more rounds they can get, the more experience, the better.
Would you rather have this game out of the way so you can focus on the rest afterwards, which you might be able to pick up points for your actual placement?
I would rather play this like first game where nothing matters and then worry about the group stage and then making it through as top 4 than have this be the game that decides whether or not you're going home.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're not winning.
Because then, like, we're up against the champions.
Yep.
And it decides if you go home or not. And that's just very heavyweight coming down on it.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, you want to have the decisive games that defines, like, qualification to be in your control. And playing against like the best of the best really doesn't feel like that's in your control. It's like if they underperform, you might win. But if that doesn't happen, you're not supposed to unless something absolutely absurd happens. So yeah, now is a good time for it. And I'm very happy to see something like Nate playing the Clash here. W7m still happy to try out different strats and practicing various things, despite this game maybe not mattering as much to them as to Bleed, because they're very much expected to go through, of course. Yeah, just trying things out here.
And there's a bit of a difference as well, right? As the Swampy comes in from Herds, a second one in a row. Just gonna finish my point anyway. W7m is expecting to win the tournament. It's expected to win the tournament, and I don't think Bleed is in that same mentality. Of course, they would love to win SI.
Yeah.
But they are also realistic and are like, we just want to make it as far as we possibly can. Probably like main stage is their goal.
Yeah.
Quarters, and then see how far they can get from there on. Just so you're in that realistic expectation. And of course, you're always playing to win. But, the mentality there, you need to beat everybody to be the best, is also like, I mean, we can afford to lose against W7m and still make it to main stage if we win everything else.
You know, if this was G2, but like we weren't as good as we were, and like we were bleeding the scenario, Fabian would have been like manipulating us, like we're better than they are, we'll beat them, we'll win. They had nothing on us. He is like delusional, basically. But he is delusional to the point of inspiration, where you start to believe, like it's like you're being gaslit, basically, right? You start to be like, you know what? We are better than them. We will beat them. We will take them down. And then you go, did you win? No, we got smashed, 14-0. But we believed in ourselves.
It's another kill to come through W7m. I mean, it is kind of what everybody expected. There was still quite some leeway to Bleed in the predictions. It wasn't like a 97-3 like we see earlier today. But yeah, W7m so far just in control, especially now they're on defense. It is now Bleed that needs to come to them rather than the other way around. And defense has always been seen as the easier side of Siege.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the pressure of time on your shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, you do all your work in prep phase, and you just play out the round. You've set up the problems for the opponent to solve. You don't really gotta problem solve all that much. And we see W7m, they recognize we got 2 kills. Don't gotta hold that extension on cash anymore. Let's fall back before it gets too scary and set up on the next hold, which is the office rotate to construction with a shield on the master bedroom door. And then they have still Nate on the Clash, who's yet to be activated, who's now gonna start rotating over and stopping Bleed from progressing any further.
The repeat coming in as well. There's just pure confidence out there. Usually, I would be like, okay, I've not won this fight. I'm going to go back as Hoven will find KZ, though. So it's not going to be a flawless round to come through, but more swings on the other side of it. This is just the kind of thing when you're playing against W7m. It's like you might take down one, but the other 4 members is just as happy to just swing right afterwards. Well, you just got one from this position, but surely he cannot kill us all.
And not just that, but every single player is so lethal as well in the server. And when we talk about the best teams in the world historically, whether it's old Empire, old Pentity 2, or EG back in their day, you look at those rosters and you go, there's not a single player here who's not capable of having a clutch moment or a massive kill in those rounds.
There's no weak point.
Exactly, and I think, from my own side, I think like W7m and Prime G2/Penta, they're like the 2 teams where I feel like they just didn't, or currently, they don't have a weakness. Whereas, Prime NIP, Prime Empire, they are really excellent at the game, but there are always some small things I feel like that could be exploited, that was a weakness, etc., which might be why their reign didn't last, quote-unquote, as long as other teams, for example. But for W7m, I sit this as a player mindset, I'm like, I'm not sure what I would do here. Like, okay, if I hit the shot, if I kill this player, if I win the 50-50, maybe we'll win the round. But strategically, it's such a sound and solid team from W7m where it's hard to counteract this, I imagine.
What do you say about TSM and Space Station? Or their flaws? They're flawless as well.
I mean, the funny thing about... Not funny, but like TSM, they came out of nowhere for SI and they ended up winning the whole thing. To everyone's surprise. Then they... Basically, in the same calendar year of winning, they're no longer in professional play. The whole roster exploded and parted ways with each other,
Yeah.
And it's one of those, like, I would have loved to see the potential of a TSM long-term after winning SI that had kept up that same kind of performance, that magic, but that's a curse that we talk about, right? TSM, they win, they're kind of disappearing. G2 won SI, they have not done well this year after that fact either. W7m, one of the few teams that historically will keep doing well. What are you doing?
I mean, that's just...
Hertz gotta go for it, Yeah. He's gotta go for it.
I'm 11 right now. I'm gonna not going to break the map record, but this is going to be over before we even have the opportunity to. So, but yeah.
I love Maverick as a concept because it's a free use gadget. Like you are Picasso, right? I want more of that kind of stuff where you have so much creative freedom to do whatever you want to this wall, or you can just die.
I was going to say, like, the amount of impacts are definitely going to be coming back to bite them at some point. Yeah. And, it's a one-on-one trade to come through. Maverick gone means that that wall, that's going to stay shut, I think, actually. I mean, there is still these Selmas left. They could use that technically. They might want to use that for a different point on the map as well. Also, he's on the opposite side of the map, being challenged currently, so a single bullet and his life ends.
I love the confidence here from Masvi. Happily holding the angle. Doesn't matter if he gets swung. But yeah, the Maverick dying earlier has definitely forced him to change their approach here from the main wall of CCTV to a construction-sided take instead. And I think if you're W7m, you're relatively happy with this. Closer distance, no like really far rappel angle that's hard to deal with. A more fair gunfight for defenders, if you will. But still, it's Bleed in the man advantage here. Ouch.
Make that one. For a turret coming in from Logi will shut down a player inside of construction, leaving it only up to Nade and GV92. But as you said, they're all lethal. Only up to Nade though. 1v3 needs to go for a clutch to close out the rest of the game. Does a little bit of damage to turret, but takes more in return. Shut down as well. So Bleed, they live for yet another round. There's still 3 more map points that they need to be parrying off if they want to be making this to overtime and get themselves a map win after that. So there's still a very tall hill to climb right now, and it all starts off with like Hurts with like, that was a bit of a goofy play.
I mean,
it's like, yeah. He heard some things, he's like, I'm going to open this up, but everybody is going to be hearing that and responding to it. It's
I mean, frankly, it looks and feels like Hurts is playing ranked right now. Like, he's like, oh, I guess I'm going to go for a spawn peek. And like,
he's been doing it every round so far.
Exactly. I'm going to go again. I'm going to go again. And he's probably going to keep doing it until it doesn't work, like in that previous round. I'm okay, fair enough. We got to figure it out. I'll do something else now. But Hurts' playstyle the last couple of rounds reminds me of, like, Goki a couple of years ago, back when I played with him in like Go Force or like minor tournaments, etc. Because he would do the same thing, where he's like, "Oh, I'm testing my opponent." You know, he's like, "I'm gonna keep spawn peeking every single time and
until
realize
they learn
if they're stupid or not," basically. And it's like, okay, Bleed, they got that check. They failed it twice, fair enough, different locations. Third time, they were very much ready for it. He's not gonna do it again. There's no way.
Sure he is.
He's gonna fake apply the pressure, right? To keep them on their toes, to slow them down. No, he's gonna just force it out the door.
Oh, they spotted him.
They're chasing him. Like, where's Hurt? That's him. Keep on his toes right now, Hove, and see where he goes. You see? Oh, start door! Guys, start door! Careful!
See, he's trying it again. I told you he was trying it again.
You're right.
I mean, it's like the last time he died in garage, there was a second attempt in that round as well, because first he was trying it upstairs. Oh, no one there. So he rotated around to the garage, tried it like that. And now he actually faked the reinforce as well. So it's like, he has the opportunity to just fall back. Yeah, and he hears the buck coming in now. He's going to probably try and take one fight. If he doesn't succeed, that is opening up the hatch. Oh, almost. They were ready for it. Should have taken the hatch, buddy.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't go for the drop because he heard it was Box killing the key on the door. So it's not like he's thinking, oh, if I open the hatch for them, that's bad. No, it's Buck. Like, the hatch will get opened regardless.
Yeah.
So he might as well drop to live, take the risk, and the second one follows. I feel like W7m having too much fun right now, I'm not gonna lie to you. A little bit of disrespect here towards Bleed, I find.
I was gonna say, it's not fully respecting your opponent at this moment in time, because this is like, oh, I'm just gonna get myself known inside a stock and expect that I can leave, and they don't set up. Whilst they were following the entire time, and they're actually, Bleed was playing that perfectly, setting up those cross angles, so if he would leave, he would be caught. So he should have just used the hatch at that point. Like, they thought it was reinforced. Wasn't the case. Either way, Kaze, he's the next one on the chopping block. Just playing this quite aggressively, but the drones have basically already left this area of the map. Oh. He's too afraid. He heard something coming in from the main door. He's being peeked right now. There's going to be another pickup to come through. If he would have swung in the first place, he would have found Reeves, but instead, only Nade and Philipox left on the board for W7m.
Great droning though from Bleed. Mentis and Hoven spending most of that round just on drones, locking down the flanks, looking for where the enemy might be coming from. That's exactly what you need. Sure, W7m, they're playing loose, but Bleed are adapting well to this and playing correctly around it. A lot of people ask you, like in ranked, if people are playing overly aggressive, what should I do? Well, hold angles. If you expect them to play aggressive, they will run into your crosshair and you will take them down. If you think they're always going to go for a flank, have a guy watching it or have a flank drone ready to call when they go for it. Bleed are adapting well. Now in the 2v5, they should be swinging out first. They have no choice. They have no strategical structure left.
See Nade moving up right there, so they're very much aware of a player being out there. Oh, there's a flashbang coming through. Flashbang meta is what we're in currently. It's nowhere to go. Mentalist shuts him down. Philippox now. And the last man standing, 1v5, takes the first. That's a huge pick. Spots a second, gets it down, but someone comes... Oh! Somehow comes away with that. Now all that is left behind him and winning is 2 more shots that he needs to hit, but he's so low on HP. But he's retaking that top 4.
He's got diffuser.
He has the diffuser, so he can just play it like this from above, but they've heard him, and he gets shut down by Hoven. Great adaptation to come in from Bleed again. Maybe a bit too close for comfort in that round still, but they managed to take another round win. They managed to bring it back to just 2 map points now.
Certainly too close for comfort. Of course, Philippox didn't know he had diffuser because he was not downed on the play that he killed, but we saw it from the UI that he had a really strong and stable position. He swung that hatch because he didn't think he had it and tried to isolate some members there, trying to go for that kill when he heard the revive sound. And W7m, with their rounds, the way they've been going, they're calling a tactical timeout to maybe say, guys, enough is enough.
Yeah, enough is enough. Let's start, actually doing what we are used to doing.
Let's play properly. Like we tried disrespecting them. We're having some fun. Let's get serious now.
No, but that's it, right? It's like, okay, if you would have won them like that, great.
Yeah.
But if we lose the next one, then it's suddenly 1 round away from overtime. If it's 1 round away from overtime and you lose that one, oh, it's overtime, and it is literally an all-men's ball game.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what team you are, the less rounds you play, the better. It's less things that people can look into for your patterns, for your habits, for your strats, your bomb site rotation, etc. And as much as W7m, they might be playing this to make it seem less serious, more rounds they play, the worse it does get for them. So putting this to bed, the quicker, the better. At 6-4, yeah, I think it's time.
I mean, this round they now will have to play serious, right? So that's going to be at least 1 quality round worth of footage their opponents can go through because they couldn't close it out before.
Yeah.
So that is something that is definitely going to be useful for their opponents right now. So the Bleed helping everybody currently in the world, allowing for more to be seen.
I mean, even if majority of teams they grouped up with an analysis to try and take down W7m, I still think it would be a very tall task. You know?
Gun skill is still a very important part of the game.
Yeah, like mid-round adaptation, the roster 1-to-1, how they square up, and a big talking point for this event and then the prior one of Atlanta is that split theory, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, what is that? And the simple term is that the new way of playing Siege versus the old way of playing Siege, well, the best teams in the world, they can do both and they can change throughout interchangeably in a round. And that's where we see less experienced teams like Bleed, they have this very solid way they want to approach the round from the prep phase, they follow through, whereas a team like W7m, for example, in this case, they can change fast, slow, one side, split take, whatever, in an instant. It's so rehearsed for them.
I mean, you saw it earlier on, they're literally taking fights all over the map, and it's like, we know we're better than we have the information, we can take the fight. Because right now, that will be opening up. That is going to need a second EMP. No, that's going to open up. This JV92 wasn't in a position where he could actually juggle. That means it's a free opening. Flashbangs are coming through from Mentalist. They are going quickly into New Blue at least. They're just falling back slightly. He's afraid of what might be coming.
Seemed like a full-on execute there for a second.
You've used 2 Candelas. There must be a reason why, and there's no one there from W7m. So for now, it feels like wasted utility.
I was gonna say, they might have been scared like the entry point was gonna be a dangerous aspect, but I mean, better safe than sorry. I'd rather see you spend 2 Candelas and get in alive than die with all 4 in your pocket, of course, like you mentioned.
Where's the EMP?
No EMP! Ah! That's not good. I mean,
still had 2 left. I mean, that should have been there. I'm sure they can do it again, right? They still have the 2 EMPs. They will be using it on this door. Just need to get someone out there with the actual can opener so they can get it done.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're adjusting to it, but they did get punished initially. And JV now, he reads it.
Got destroyed.
They mistimed it.
Oh, that's very painful.
JV had put it back on, so it looked like it wasn't kite tricked yet. Hoven goes to put it down before the MP, and then it saps it at the same second. That is actually pretty bad for them.
It's definitely going to be making it way more difficult to open that one up, and we still are struggling with opening up the kitchen hatch itself. Now, there is another set of Excaris coming through. There has been a lot of opening from the Bucks, so you don't really expect anybody to step out voluntarily now and toss in the impact to open up. So instead, that will be opened up. Now, opening up into dirt as well. They're trying to take this fight, but Nate is out there, and he has an AFNAT to support him as well. So just sprays them both down. And that could very much be the end of Bleed for this map, but Turret strikes back. He manages to at least get one He's now in his warding glasses, is going to be making sure he's not going to get flashed. He saw one drop on the opposite side as he swings by, manages to find one, spots a second up on the top, but the third one is already deep inside. Mentalist will shut him down. That's a DBNL, but he still has to fight many more. Will fail to do so as W7m will lock it off with a 4-7 victory.
And you see it there in their faces. Yeah, that's the map done there, right, boys? That is the good half that we wanted, that we needed. And I love to see a Warden player actually use the gadget to success. And yeah, he saw the Ying drop down the hatch, swung the main stairs instead, prioritizing the more important angles there. Well done for W7m and Bleed. They made it close, but they couldn't get it done.
It's important they don't panic in oh, they're going to be planting. We need to go for the swing now because it's like, oh, there might be someone main stairs. Check that first.
Holding.
We get him. Okay, now we can focus onto the plant position. Because even if the plant goes down, it's not the end of the world.
No.
Right? If you have the men advance at that point, you have the opportunity to retake. But a very, convincing win, we can still really say for W7m. They were a bit trolling in 3 of those rounds and not really restricting Bleed whatsoever. But before we're headed towards the next map and the breakdown, we're headed to a very quick break.
Seeing where the initial weak spot is. But again, that could also play against Fury, where again, they have done all this prep, and in reality, it's a completely different ballgame that Falcons is going to be playing, and it's going to be a lot of mid to late round adaptations.
We don't have to look too far back to see Fury have some success. Okay, it was different roster, different times, but they've got experience, and that experience is going to trickle through a player like I9. So I am expecting that to be at the forefront here today. And for Falcons, I think it's one of those where I don't really know who the pressure is on for this game, because we're expecting them to be fairly equal inside of the group, but there's a lot of extenuating circumstances around that. It's really difficult to say which team has the most pressure on their shoulders. And Falcons, they've almost got like a sort of get out of jail free card here with their current circumstance.
I think this first map is really going to set that tone going into that chalet.
We're looking at both Falcons and Fury here, and realistically, we haven't seen them really play on day one. Fury, not at all. Falcons with a 3-man substitute. So this could be considered for both of these teams their first game here at SI. And could that potentially be similar to what we've seen from the Low Sonics game, especially that first map where it was trialing and testing and learning each other's game style and then adapting to it?
It's definitely going to be about which team has the ability to adapt in a short amount of time, because prep for both teams at this point is pretty useless because both teams have, changed a little bit.
Absolutely.
Falcons, they now play with different teams, so the prep that they've maybe done previously is pretty useless. Fury, they may be prepping to play them against with 3 subs. That's pretty much useless. So there's going to be a lot of pressure in what happens in the server. And obviously the coaches sat behind, they're going to be able to give their input during the tactical timeouts and do some slow guiding, but that overall ability to adapt on the fly is going to have to come from the players, Lax.
Absolutely, and that's something that I even want to hone in on just from personal player experiences. Just because you have strats, just because you have prep, that's all there just to give you an idea of what's happening in the map, but you have to be focused on adapting, communicating with one another, because that's what's going to push you to win the ground, win the game. And if you're just fully focused on the prep, I can tell you right now it's not going to look good. You need to be able to adapt in those mid to late rounds.
And that's what we're going to be expecting from both of these games, but also adaptability, energy levels, I think have played a huge part here on LAN so far when we're looking at the teams going back and for that mental warfare we've touched upon it a couple of times. And when we're looking currently at Falcons as well as Fury, they're kind of just sitting calm, cool, and collected.
It's a bit too wholesome in here for my liking right now. It's a little bit too cute, especially considering we just had Sonics and Lost and they were screaming at one another. We saw Sonics were getting really animated.
I can actually hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I think we're going to come through crystal clear here. And these two teams, maybe when they get into the server, there'll be a bit of hype and stuff like that. I'm sure that there will be. Fury, very much like a vibes team, in my opinion. And Falcons, they've got a mouth on them when they need it. But at this point, it's all about getting them into the server.
I mean, I'm an old geezer. Personally, I prefer it to just be calm, chill, collect. I don't really want anyone screaming in my ear, but definitely it does set a tone for sure of, like you were saying, that mental warfare is when, if you're going down in rounds and that other team is screaming at you, it does affect players. It is very real. But for me, I like chill. I like what they're doing over there. Yeah,
we've discussed at length in terms of what we could be expecting from both of these rosters, and I think playstyle would not be something we could attest to just yet, considering that what we've seen yesterday from Falcons is not going to be it. We're going to be seeing Fury for the first time as well, so maybe a little bit more outside of the conversation. But I do want to look at their map pool and their experience on these maps, because again, the BO3, you have 3 different maps where you can be going to if you win both your map picks. So how likely or how favorable here is it for either one of these teams?
I think that you've got to look at the different types of Siege that these two teams play. They're in very different regions, and they play very different styles of Siege. Now, that's never the easiest thing to come up against and to bring to an international stage, because you're going to be playing an international style Siege, where, as you know, a lot of things go out the window. Something that works regionally might not work too well internationally, and that's where you can look at this. Falcons have got a lot of experience inside of the Saudi League. Now, that's fantastic, but you look at the level of competition that is. Likewise, Fury, they've got a lot of experience as well. But again, what is that experience against? Who are those teams that they're going up against?
But this is where it's going to play into who is actually paying attention to what the other team is doing, is making those adaptations. Because if you aren't doing that, then it doesn't really matter what all that prep or everything went into. If you can't identify what that team is doing that is stopping you in your tracks, they're just going to keep rolling over you.
And also, even when we're looking at Falcons particularly here, I want to touch upon the fact that at Copenhagen, they didn't have their full roster. They had Valentino playing in as a substitute. But even locally, within the MENA region, they were not #1 seed. It was GK. So it brings the question, they exploded onto the stage during G8 and everybody saw them go up against BDS head-to-head in that finals. But really, is it still the same Falcons? Can we still be expecting that in-your-face Siege that's so aggressive?
I mean, you've got to maybe question like a bit of a home advantage, a home turf buff there, when you start thinking about G8 and Falcons. But it is a team that has that potential, and I think we've got to also remember that we very rarely get to see them at full strength. Now, are they at full strength today?
Absolutely not.
Well, yes, in a way.
They are.
They've got all 5. So yes, in a way. Is the circumstance of the full 5 being here classed as full strength? Not necessarily, but there is still that full 5 roster.
Definitely.
And what they're able to do is anyone's business.
And again, when you look at the maps, I mean, again, I already talked on the Night Haven, but the fact that the last map that's going to be up is Border, again, it plays into what Twister was saying. He is fully confident in the map pool and what they can do now with that 5-man roster. But I do agree with what you were saying. I think there is maybe some little bit of leeway if we do start to see maybe a similar performance of yesterday in terms of 2 players coming in off 20 hours of a long flight.
Yeah, and then we were having a look at Fury, and I think especially when it comes to that APAC, when it comes to the APAC region, what we've seen time and time again is translating that local success, that regional success onto that international stage, being able to take teams out in that group stage, and they could potentially, do that. But the question remains, realistic?
And this is, I mean, I think so as well, but for APAC in general, in terms of their playstyle, they've always, for as long as I can remember, even competing against them, they've always had a very unorthodox gameplay and game style, whereas I think this meta heavily does favor kind of those unorthodox playstyles or the aggressiveness as well. So in terms of Fury being able to just figure that out, I think, again, where I've always seen APAC struggle the most is really their adaptations. Is once they get figured out, once a team has a general consensus of how they're attacking or how they're approaching a site or even how they're defending a site, they collapse because they don't know how to make those changes. And I think it might be the same both for MENA regions as well, is once a team really figures you out, especially at SI where every team is going to be top notch, they're going to be doing their prep, you have to be heavily focused on how you can change your style of play when you need to.
I want to really know and dig into how Falcons are going to deal, how Fury are going to deal with the aggression that Falcons are going to bring. Falcons, one of the best ways to describe them is that they are a team that is fantastic at just running around. Now, what's running around, we might say? Well, running around means that they are going to be getting up in your face. They love to play aggressive. They love to bring the fight to their opponent. And I want to see how Fury deal with that, because it can be really difficult sometimes. We've only got to think back to the previous game that we saw about how aggressively Lost were holding on Skyscraper. Okay, with different maps here, with slightly different circumstance, but if Falcons play that aggressive play style, especially on a map like Night Haven, which can be difficult, takes a lot of coordination to really get executes going over on that map, I want to know how that stacks up. Likewise, I want to see exactly what happens when when it's all reversed and when it's changed around. How do Falcons stack up to that pressure? What are their attacks going to start to look like here on this map?
Yeah, and that's also something to keep in mind in terms of that MENA play style, where we've heard in MENA they don't really plant. That's not in the strat book. It's not part of it. And we saw that aggression from GK as well. So even though GK being that #1 seed, Falcons #2, that is potentially going to be similarity in that play style, and it was an issue for the team they were playing.
I mean, aggressive play styles is the meta. If you can't deal with it at this point in Siege and where this meta's at, you're already far behind than you need to be.
Yeah, and I have some really great news. The game is ready, and we're absolutely heading into it straight away. Thank you so much for holding on, but Falcons and Fury about to start.
What a top professional crew there on the desk to get through a bit of an extended tech pause there as we are looking to get into what will be our final game of the day. And final game of the day with basically 2 debutants. Let's be honest here. Falcons have got their roster back, and Fury for the first time here for SI24 making an appearance.
Yeah, I'm really keen to jump into this one. A bit of labs as well, one of my favorite maps. But I mean, taking a step back, looking at the day as a whole, it's been 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. We haven't had a 3-mapper at all today across the A stream or the B stream. Will this be the one that goes the distance, Jake?
Well, no, because you've jinxed it. Now it's going to be a 2-0 again. Thank you, guys. Now, 60% to 40% in favor of Fury, but I wonder how many of those predictions were based on maybe Falcons from yesterday, because Falcons from yesterday are relevant. And it was said on the desk, you basically don't even count it. Let's move forward with now the new Falcons roster, the Falcons roster we know and love, of course. So they get their entire crew. They've got the whole team. Now, a lot of people will be like, where's Joker? Where's Joker? Well, it's not really like part of this roster at the moment, or really at all. Mad Skills, of course, he's been around a long, long time as well. He makes his way back in. So does O-Kills, and so does J-Lad. And that's essentially the big call that they were missing yesterday. So they've got their full 5. They're ready to go. This is a big test as well for Fury, because I think when you kind of look at this tournament holistically, again, APAC has continued to fail. APAC has again continued to not really show up. This has got to be the kind of game that they look at themselves as a possibility to win, to kickstart the campaign.
It's actually a little bit strange, the parallels between both of these two teams in sort of the context of the year, right? Falcons, unfortunately, throughout 2023 dropped off. They trailed to GK, and you know, going into this year for 2024, they're going to again be competing for that singular spot. So it's going to be really intriguing to see how that plays out. But the same now can be said for Fury. They're going to be competing heavily against Bleed for now only the singular spot in Asia. So I think both of these teams have a lot to prove, obviously on the international stage, but setting themselves up nicely for the year. So I'm keen to see how they go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, you mentioned that as well for Fury against Bleed. Actually, interesting when you kind of look at them domestically. Fury's got the better of Bleed. I think winning their last 2 encounters, especially throughout, say, like the LCQs. If you go back all the way to Copenhagen, at the time it was like a massive shock. It was the kind of big upset that sent ripples through SEA when Fury actually took down Bleed, denying them after they had the 7-0 in the regular stage. Bleed then could not go to Copenhagen. They then did it again in stage 2 for Atlanta, but that time Bleed had a second chance. They were able to then make it through anyway. We head into this one, Nighthaven Labs, like you said. This was selected by Fury, and then after that we've got Chalet, if required, but probably now won't go to because you've jinxed it. It would be Border. Now, 2 maps in this sort of map pool that Falcons, again, Falcons with a lot of subs yesterday, did in fact play against Lost One. So they did play Labs. They obviously lost that one. They got 7-0 on Border. We'll see whether or not we do get there. Falcons to begin on the D.
Everybody, and so we are continuing with the B stream. First, just quickly for a recap, what happened in that previous game? Well, let's just say Nick and I both agree it should have been a 7-2.
Yeah.
But there was some trolling from W7m. They didn't really respect Bleed as much as they maybe should have, unless it took until round 10.
I was gonna say mathematics.
No, not round 10.
11.
It is
yeah.
round. Well,
Round 11 ended
yeah,
things.
there we go.
Yeah.
Well, it would have been max
That
regulation
is hard.
time. It is hard. It is also getting quite late. I was up very early, actually, like 6 a.m. local time, which is like 10 back in our place. So it's like,
Yeah.
I was only in last weekend. Either way, W7m were basically in complete control for the majority of the round. Like, the right decisions are being made. Feels like there is no pressure on the players, really. And Bleed, they were punishing mistakes that were made by W7m when they started to get a bit more cocky. So it is something that we would like to see. How is that going to be translating into the next map?
Yeah, and also that you see the stat line right here. I mean, what Bleed will need to do is individually perform a little bit better, right? We gotta see someone like Mentalist or Turret and Reaps at the bottom just pull a little bit more of their weight, not be caught off guard as much as they were. Because Hurts, you said they were turning a bit. Hurts was spawn peaking 3-4 rounds in a row. That's why he's 4-4. Either he would get the kill or get killed early on. But you are correct. Bleed did make good adaptations. Their drone work, and when they realized how overly aggressive W7m were playing, they slowed things down, holding angles, expecting that aggression, and shutting it down. So there is light here for Bleed. There are things they're doing well, and you can definitely tell that Julio has been here for a little bit and trying to teach these players how to play the game on the mental side of things, having fun, believing in yourself, but also on the fundamental level, droning for your teammates. That did happen most rounds.
It did happen in most rounds, and you know those are those fundamentals. And as you said, I think Bleed is maybe one of the like old Apex teams that has the highest skill ceiling that they can still reach. Like, of course, they haven't been together for like the longest. They've only been like to the major and now 6 Invitational, so there is still plenty of room for them to grow. And they might become one of those new Apex mainstay names, you know, where they keep coming back and keep making okay runs. The predictions have been not kind to Bleed, but I mean, do you really blame the people at home betting their channel points?
No, you gotta be safe with those. The channel points matters a whole bunch now. If you are Bleed, you go up against Clubhouse, your opponent picked it, you cannot avoid that. But picking Oregon against W7m, I have two opinions of this. Because I always feel like the better team shouldn't want to go to Oregon against the quote-unquote worst team. Because it's the most, in my opinion, 50-50 map there is. Anyone can beat anybody, I find. But at the same time, picking Oregon against W7m also feels like a bad idea. It's the most default of default maps where no matter what team you are, no matter who you are, you will do a very similar take as to most other teams with maybe some minor differences, minor operator bans, etc. But most things stay the same, as will the operator bans, Dokkaebi being removed, Monty being removed, nothing too out of the norm. Of course, Dokkaebi was open last map, but it wasn't really in play.
And we're to be removed as well. They
that.
struggled a little bit with it, so they're like, eh.
And like it's hard on Oregon because it's a pretty small map, relatively near the bomb site. So you're gonna always have to like walk into those. I hate Finrear. Yeah, don't we all?
It's a strong word, Hurts.
Yeah,
But I understand.
but I mean, it's one of those operators that it limits how you can play the game. Like you're walking through a door. If you see a barbed wire on the ground, okay, there's barbed wire. If I walk in, I know what it's gonna cost me. But like Grismod mines, or as Hurt says here, very broken, the Fenrir FNATs or whatever, you walk into a door, you don't know they're there unless it's got droned out, and you get instantly penalized for it. So it just feels kind of bad.
I'm going to test you like I tested Parker earlier.
Oh boy.
You should definitely know because you have 2 of them.
Oh, okay. Oh boy.
What's the in-game gadget name for the hammer?
Oh god. Oh no, don't do
Dude,
this
it's
to me.
I'm one of those nerds and knows every single official operator gadget name without trying.
But I mean, the Kyber thing is what you use for like a hammer in some terms.
It's the Kyber.
Oh, the Kyber.
Yeah, Kyber.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is called Kyber, yeah?
Yeah, it's Kyber.
Okay, I got. Oh.
You need to know. You have 2 of them.
Okay, so I knew in like the back of my mind there. That's always good. I didn't hear you asking Parker that either, so I didn't know that was coming.
No,
but
it came in because of the RC Roteros. He's like, I thought it was just Rotero. I'm like, no, it's RC Rotero. And it's like, oh, do you know what the Kyber is or what the sledgehammer is?
And he didn't.
He did actually.
Oh, he did.
He was the
Okay,
first
okay.
one to actually get that right. So.
Damn.
I'm going to continue this question. I just hope that no one's listening right now. So just going to continue questioning people over the course of the...
You catch it like, what is this called?
I might just go to Kali's gadget. Who knows? Like, you know, it's the LV explosive lance.
Yeah, I know Lance. It's like the short version, but not the full name.
Yeah.
Didn't know. The same with like Sophia, like Lifeline.
Yeah.
But there's a number before that, I
Oh,
believe.
so like,
Is it
it might be...
558 or...
I think it's Z193, but I'm not
Yeah, it might be
100% sure.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that I do not know, but I know most.
That's so funny though, and Hertz will keep up having fun as well.
Oh,
he got the drone! He could go Garrett's door here and try and catch him on the rotate if he
He's doing it. He's doing it. No, he's backing off. He's going garage instead.
Yeah, oh, yes.
That is also dangerous because
if he hears the sound cue, he might get both. He might get both.
No, he hears this, right? He does!
Oh no!
Hurts! Stop spawn peeking, dude! It's just not nice.
That's gotta be so frustrating to deal with every single one on Clubhouse, basically. Now, first round of Oregon, this just doesn't stop for him. And the thing is, nobody will even enter the building and get anywhere because a flawless round for W7m, full control. This is why you shouldn't pick Oregon if you bleed up against them.
So, fellow analysts of the 6 Invitational, you will be looking into this round and be like, how did the setup get tested? It didn't. That's just it.
I mean, yeah, you might see where the reinforcements went or some gadgetry, but yeah, no test was made there. That was just a full court press.
You won't even know how they would play or how they would like rotate where the pressure would be. It's just... He knows as well. You see from the smile, it's like, oh, I'm enjoying this game.
Yeah.
I'm step-adding myself for the rest of this event.
I know that some people watch this at home and go, this is boring, this is pointless, like, why are Bleed here? They're gonna be super dramatic about it, right?
Yeah.
I think it is phenomenal when you see the sheer gap from, like, not the bottom, because I wouldn't say Bleed at the bottom and the top 20 in the world are here, but the top teams to, like, let's say the average team. Because it's not so often, and not in every esport, that you get to see a pure skill gap in a matchup.
Yeah.
Where you see the excellency and how phenomenal a team can be from sheer talent, prep work, and experience. And watching this kind of game, you see that gap.
And when we say average team, we still mean they will beat
Professional level.
99.99% of the viewers at home with
Yeah.
ease.
Yeah.
Right? So it's
Professional
It
level.
might look like they're absolutely being destroyed by W7m every now and then, but they'll still destroy everybody who's currently watching without any trouble whatsoever. And I think that's sometimes something that people don't understand, because when things go bad, it looks really bad because the other team looks really good. And, you know, it's always the difficult part to relay.
Also, mind you, you're seeing Bleed getting destroyed, but by W7m. Do you think you could take on W7m? No, you're kidding.
No, I
There's
definitely
no way.
wouldn't. No, I would not even accept that. I would be like, no, you
No,
can take
thank
that
you.
win. As Hoven opens up with an opening kill. I mean, important one for Box taken out.
I like this, the aggression, the confidence, the early drone, early entry. Despite that previous round, how it played out, Bleed, they were still fighting and trying to learn from these rounds. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. Despite how one-sided some of these rounds that may or may not have been, Bleed are mentally staying in this and they keep on fighting. That's a really great showing from a team who doesn't have the most experience. Also, they're playing Blackbeard.
Well, yeah,
That's what I would do. I
say
would play
about that we
Monty or
want.
Blackbeard, by the way. I mean, Monty's banned, so I couldn't, but it's like, if I'm playing W7m like this, I would too would hide behind a face shield. That feels very good.
Especially if you're on the flank watch angle, right? It's like you don't want them to just come around pre-fire you, take your head off, because that's what they will do.
Yeah.
Take any advantage you can take in that situation. A lot of keeper barriers are being tossed up, and yet they are not thinking about reinforcing this. Actually, as they open up with the Maverick, there's supposed to be cover there to stop anybody from trying to take the Maverick out. Except it's the cover that is being taken care of by Herds, who's just firing off some shots, basically letting them know, no, don't try. Just forget about it.
It's an important thing. W7m, they're good at making the opponent fight for all the basic things in the game. Getting master visual control, difficult. That's a cube barrier. Taking attic, difficult. Hertz is holding it. So there's no easy entry points. Nothing comes for free here. Everything has quite a price against this team.
Hertz is definitely receiving some pressure now as they're starting to put some extra pressure into the game side of things. There is still a black eye out there, though. You just saw it activate as soon as the Ash charges were being used, so they do have the information. Hayes gets one. Oh no, that's an unfortunate swap. As Asvi walks through, was able to pick up that kill. Now in there with the diffuser, it's only up to Nate in a 1v3 situation, and this round might actually go towards Bleed's side. As he gets shut down from the side as the Blackbeard to come through, and the return of the mag dump.
Blackbeard. No face shield needed. And Hoven again, the confidence, the aggression, winning those gunfights very convincingly as well. A big member in that round for his team. This opening, of course, huge. Casey,
Nice.
really bad timing. Really bad timing.
Siege timing.
Yeah.
That's what we would call that to some extent.
Yeah, and you could say, like, what if you threw the C4, walk left or walk right to evade the hatch angle? It's just one of those small things where, oh, he should have done something differently, but he simply didn't have the intel to know what he should have done better there before it was simply just too late.
And there's bees, there's calls going on as well at the same time. Shots are being fired, and of course, like you could hear the footsteps, but there's so much going on that you might just not register it in time.
Yeah.
So, again, that's something that just needs to be said every now and then. It's not always as clear-cut as it seems with everything that's going on. It's not like you're just listening to the game. Your game audio probably quite low in comparison to your shot caller who's making everything go.
Exactly. Like, there are times in professional play, I can speak from experience, where someone will be like, shush, quiet, I need game sound. And it's like, well, we need to talk.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you need
like
to mute TeamSpeak or something.
If you don't want to hear and need to listen, then mute yourself, because, like, we cannot just shut down the entire team because you need silence.
Yeah, and it's tough because game sound is very vital in Siege, but so is communication and sharing intel as well, so always playing a fine line. Third, gathering info by denying it on the Bravo drones. Those are going to be very beneficial for the mid stage of this round, so if you have an attacker who's not overly busy with something himself, he can flick through cameras, gain a bunch of intel, at the very least know what is clear. Asvi will unfortunately for him fail the first drone toss. He'll succeed in the second attempt. And it's again, discipline, fully droning out tier 3 of Attic to make sure, or sorry, Attic of Big Tower, to make sure nobody is there, and not being lazy about it, recalling it, and then dying to a surprise effect here. So again, Bleed, doing the right things here.
Now they know Herds is there, though. They've also spotted, of course, the rotation and goes back into the Attic, so there's only two ways it can really go. Either he stays, or he rotates out, most likely towards the other side of the top floor, and Herds is currently setting himself up at a keeper barriers, looking to reinforce his current position. Which, for the side that we're playing, is a strong position, because if you cannot take the back off stage in the tower, a lot of your plant potential already gets denied. And it's not like you're setting up for an Ossa plant, there's no Ossa. But often the back of stage is still where you want to get that plant down.
Yeah, it's your most common approach. Hertz has read the situation quite well. There are multiple members repelling on Big Tower, so it's too many angles to worry about. They're going to do a 3-2-1 rappel at the same time. With the red ping with the drone again, Bleed. The supportive work right now really paying off, but Casey might be able to just crawl away.
Entry kill coming in for the side of Bleed. Herds now trying to strike back, though. He's putting up some pressure on the back of the tower, whereas Reeves, he wanted to go for the skeleton key for the double pickup. Instead, both quite low, but they are alive. They managed to get that kill, so the tide has turned in favor of W7m, who are now eyeing up Plan B, which is going to be the meeting plant. They're starting to open up in the lobby. They have control of that, so why not? But there is still people roaming around as Turd finds Nade. That does definitely ease things down slightly.
Yeah, I mean, Fellerbox and KC, they're alive with 1 HP to their name. It's just one stray bullet, they will basically faint and fall to the floor. So Bleed looking quite good in this round, but the question still is, plant position and the cover. All 3 members in very separate positions. One big tower, one small tower, one's at a lobby. There's no support here, no trading for Bleed. They are so spread apart, and that might be their doom.
Might be. Especially 20 seconds. There's still people all the way outside. They need to make a decision. The Mentalist is alone on this side of the map with the diffuser. He dies! That's round over at this point. It's only up to Turd with 10 seconds left. He's pulling a Guman out of his feet, but there's no way that he's going to be able to turn this back around. And W7m, even though they lacked the opening kill, opening 2 kills almost, are going to be able to take that round away. And I mean, they all rotate to the opposite side, except for the diffuser, which stays on meeting. Which you then think, like, he might have wanted to go for a sneak in, try and get the plant in that way.
Risky.
But what are you going to do afterwards, right? Because there's no cover for yourself at that point.
And it's again, we saw it on the lobby side. W7m, they had the crossfire. The 2v1 is never really a fair fight if you try to isolate any of those members. And it goes to show that they pre-plan these things. This right here from Reeves, very, very unfortunate. If he got that double kill and didn't die himself,
that would have been a turning point.
That would have been a turning around for sure. That might have just been the round for them.
It is going to be the basement, and Reeves has decided, at least for now, there's still opportunity to change, to bring Amaru. You might be wondering, why we are in the basement?
Why?
Right? It's just to take quick control of, for example, the tower or for the bedrooms, just so you can clear out those roamers quicker, so you can get yourself in an advantageous position that's easy, or rather hard, to clear out. Just insert yourself in the middle of it, clear it out from there. You just saved yourself 30 seconds for the rest of your team, which you can then use on the execute, which you definitely do need on a bottom 4 execute.
Exactly.
Often teams just run out of time to do it properly.
Yeah. I mean, people say, oh, this team is playing so slow, they're attacking with 20 seconds left. Yeah, but, you know, it's a big map sometimes. And if you can be really quick at getting to big tower, you will save 20 seconds that you will then have later on, like you just mentioned. That's exactly right. So it's really about how you pace yourself. There it is.
Yeah.
So the pacing, big tower in 15 seconds, that's really quick. Now you got big tower stairs flank control. Unless Reeves dies in this position, that's going to buy them at least 20 seconds, maybe more of sheer effort. And that will be invested later on. Now, Philippox, very close to Reeves now. Isn't G11 versus 416. It's not necessarily a fair fight, close quarter. Drone goes out. Reeves paying the respect here, saying, I'm not going to drive peek this. It is a dangerous part of the map. It is the basement bomb site on that staircase.
I just swapped around with Herds, of course, playing on that Warden. He's now playing around the Shaiko position, and or the pillar even, holding off that staircase. So if flashbangs come around the corner, simply activates those glasses, has the opportunity to take a fair fight, a 50-50 at that point. Yeah. It might actually be favored for the defenders, because the attackers would think, oh, they're flashed, we can take that fight, you don't have to be on point as much.
Defense typically favored, right? Like, you know where attack is going to be coming from, but you don't know the exact pixel the defender will be standing upon us at that pillar location. So timing is okay now. I would say for Bleed, I would say on a quick pace, you start reaching the hatches at about 145. It is 135 when you started doing so. So 10 seconds behind the curve, not bad at all. They still have things to work with. The only issue here that I find and that I see, they don't have that key enabling operator. There's no Ying, for example. They have the Grim, that's fair enough, but Capita, Ying are excellent for the basement bomb side to help alleviate some of those key positions or weaken the defenders. Instead, the Grim Beast, they might get those red pings going, but it will come down to the gunfights, trading successfully, and winning out in your individual engagements.
It's more of a zone denial rather than really an enabler, right? Yeah. It's like, if you are standing in this position, we will know you're there. We would still have to collapse on it, and which on a basement bomb site, it's going to be quite difficult because it is just a very fortress-like hold. But as they open into Shaiko, it allows for the opportunity to get a flashbang down there as he's trying to get some extra Bs down so they can maybe get the pillow or the double door out there. Double flash coming through. Definitely should be going into an execute now. There's 40 seconds. You have to make a move. But so far, no one really dropping yet. And as Reeps goes through, finds one, drops right afterwards. It's a shotgun playing quite close now as Filopox cleans up before he gets shut down himself. A 2-on-2. Make that one as Mentalist, the last man standing on the back of the E-box, spots one. Will bring it back to just JV92. And he knows where he is as well. He's going for the fight, misses the first couple of shots, but he's up against the DMR. All he needs to be hit with is just a single shot. And with 10 seconds left on the clock and the diffuser is still left up above, he needs to go for the kill if he wants to convert this into a round. All JV92 has to do is dig himself in deep into the actual box, which is what he's doing, but Mentalist will still get that kill, will still transfer the round over towards Bleed.
Say what you will, but there is no player who is gonna troll or let go of how hard they are trying in a 1 versus 1. That is a 1v1 cleanly, exactly, for Mentalist. That is not JV saying, disrespect, whatever. No. He wanted that round victory. Every single player does. The chaos in that round. It was 5v5, 4v4, 3v3. No one really had an actual advantage at any point in that round. And it was Mentalist in the 1v1 who stayed true to himself, believing that I just have to seek this engagement. And then when they got the red ping, they got the yellow ping, they got that confirmation locked in where he was, he just swung it with the pre-fire, knowing that JV didn't have full HP.
And the flashbangs being huge there because they really opened up. There was like 3 defenders being flashed, which led them being killed. Of course, there was an instant trade coming out from someone who wasn't flashed, but then they were flashed right afterwards. So it just kept on going. And now I'm starting to theorize a little bit. Will we see more Warden? No, well, Warden, definitely. Wamai, actually, and Jaeger coming down as the tournament progresses. Because there is teams who just bring 12 flashbangs and like 1 set of grenades. The grenades are really not a threat anymore.
No.
The flashbangs definitely are with the way that things have been going.
Yeah, I think the only issue there is, if you bring 12 flashbangs, it doesn't really matter if you have Jaeger and Wamai.
No,
right?
of course.
Because it's not enough, but at the same time, would you rather be blinded by 12 flashbangs or 6? So it does matter.
Are we going to a Warden, Wamai, Jaeger, a Rooney lineup again, where we just basically waste flashbangs rather than grenades this time round?
It's not the util meta, it's the anti-util meta, denying the flashbangs. I mean, it's funny because flashbangs have been around for as long as Siege has existed, so
it's never been more powerful than now.
Exactly, and they've never been more useful or powerful than in this current meta of the game. I mean, if we go back to year 1, we had smoke grenades, no one played them. Now they're excellent for planting and cutting off crossfires and lines of sight. Flashbangs always been around, but just now they start becoming strong.
They were always a throwaway tool to get rid of ADSs and such, as Mentalist gets the opening onto Herds. And Bleed is definitely starting to step themselves up properly here. Reeps, though, with the Supernova, going down the back stairs, going to try and find himself with a bit of a, well, adventure. He receives an impact nade, so he's definitely going to slow it down a bit more.
I mean, you can swing that lobby door all you want, but if you whiff every single bullet, basically, what are you doing? Right? What are you doing?
Yeah. Barely got anything in it, like Mentalist. Just a single bullet, I think.
Also, Mentalist, we spoke about the stat line from last game. He was like 3-10. He is 7-3 currently. He did indeed step up. The 1v1 clutch, bunch of kills to his name. Also doing most of the drone work in most of these rounds as well. So a lot of value here on the side of one of the most experienced players of the roster.
Still remember him back in APAC North. He used to be one of those like important players constantly as well. Well, Turd This is the head opportunity there. It takes a little bit of a scruff against Kaze, but it's not going to be the end of it. Still a live fight and still have the numbers advantage, and they even expand on it right now as Filopox misses the opportunity, knows about a second player coming down from the barrels as they are all getting shut down. 2v2, still 3 keeper barriers left on the board, but Kaze gets shut down from the back. They had no ID. Turd was there, and JV92 now in a 1v2 clutch position. Again, needs to try and find himself with a way to actually find victory. He's aware of the fact that someone could be blue. There's also a player up above. He's actually going to be dropping down a hatch, I believe, as they think the other person's going to be in the laundry side of things. The pings are coming in as well. The complete flashbangs are there. This should be the lock-off, and indeed it is. It is Bleed taking the lead here on Oregon.
That's very well done. They get the intel, they get the flashbangs, and both members push up for the 2 versus 1. W7m, in some of these rounds, they actually looked outclassed by Bleed. The discipline, the playing close together, maybe what Bleed truly needs is a smaller, more compartmentalized map where you are forced to play shoulder to shoulder instead of playing far apart. Because this Oregon is looking a lot better already. I mean, they're concentrating. You have the split theory where they always have a backstabber. They come from 3 or 4 different directions. It's good stuff so far. But that's also the final round now upcoming on the half. Bleed, maybe they're just a fantastic Oregon attacker team. They also need to do a good job on the defensive side of things. Otherwise, this will fall apart.
Yeah, for sure. And W7m, it just seemed like a lack of information. Like they didn't know where the players from Bleed were coming in from. As you just saw there, as KZ gets shot from the back, whilst he still had 3 keeper barriers in pocket. He was trying to rotate himself over so he could lock off blue. Instead, he gets shut down from laundry. And thus we find ourselves in a 3-2, and Bleed are looking to find themselves with a 4-2 half. If they do so, they have definitely set themselves up for success as the second half comes by. Again, defense side of SI so far, Bleed looking to change that for this map.
Operators being brought out, Ying, the Jackal, Ayana actually getting play as well. That is an operator that only a few months back I played almost every single round of any game mode ever, and now Ayana is more like a once in a blue moon experience.
It's crazy what grenades do to an operator.
I mean, she had a rough fight. She lost the grenades, and Nates got nerfed shortly after. KC hits his shot onto Turd, so Ayana will be no more. That's what you get for bringing that operator again. Screw you, Turd. How dare you?
They changed the plan. It was Herds is no longer successful with spawn peaks, so who did they put in place? KZ. KZ's now in charge of taking these early fights. He's found 2 already. He knows about a 3rd challenger. Well, has been removed just as quickly. 4th one out there, but 3 peaked and died by the hands of Asfi. Now, there is actually someone up above into the big tower. And this is now kind of the thing. You need to remove that player. There's a rotation back towards the site. You can still ignore it, but you need to make sure you have Attic under control right afterwards. But you're also only 2 members left on the attack against 4. So it is going to be very difficult to hold off any and every single given angle that you need to get yourself into some isolation fights.
I mean, Casey put on a clinic in that round. I mean, he just 1v3'd, almost 1v4. He's so quick with reaction time as well. There's no hesitation, just sheer instinct working in that round. And yeah, what do you do now? Mentalist, he was droning the entire round. He gets off the drone. It is a 2 versus 4. That is not great. Mordecai Candela is being used one at a time to clear out various rooms. It won't matter because Nate is waiting for it. It's a trade 1-for-1, but this is going to be the second last Candela. Mentalist got to go big here.
Where's the cover out there? Mentalist finds 2. Brings it back to that 1v2, but there's someone coming up at the bottom from the stairs. Hertz goes down as well. Mentalist could go for a huge clutch out here with a 1v4 Candelas and Smokes all pushing through as he's trying to make ground, but Filopox will shut him down, and Bleed is going to be able to equalize the score. But look at their faces. It is just smiles. They lost a round. They could have won it. It could have been a huge clutch, but it's like, we are having the best of times right here. We're having fun playing Siege, and we almost just finessed them with a 4-2 half.
I mean, I think they realize how close these rounds are going for them, and like Mentalist specifically right now, he is putting up an incredible job. I mean, he's in double digits now, almost got 2 rounds back-to-back clutches essentially, over 3 rounds at least. So, job well done for him. Quick to the punch as well. The crossfire is not there for W7, getting a little bit sloppy in these rounds. And we see their player cams, they don't really look amused either for W7. They're a bit like, meh, whatever, you know?
It's like straight faces. It's like,
yeah,
we just need to get this game over with, get that 2-0 win so we get the points, and then we can, you know, prepare for tomorrow. That's basically the mindset they need to be in. And like you probably know better than others, when you're at the top, everybody wants to beat you, but there is teams that you probably will prepare for less in the tournament than you will for others. And I think Bleed is going to be one of those teams where it's like, I think like they probably think we can get away on raw gun skill and our fundamentals, so we'll be preparing for the other teams in our group more, which is why they need to treat it as we need to get this one over with and just get back to the other teams that are in the group.
No, it's true, but also even the the preparation that goes into it, but also you cannot try 100% every single matchup, right? It needs to burn
burns you out.
Yeah. So sometimes you gotta lay back a little bit more, and this is probably one of those games from them. But when you start losing rounds, losing 1v1s, missing shots, and things are falling apart, that is going to stress you and bother you, even though you don't quote-unquote care as much as you would against other teams. So I can see why there might be some frustration here from W7m, and they're on attack now, 3-3 half, we gotta step things up.
There comes the Warden, playing against the Ying directly. Mentalist quite close as well, but he's going to be pushed out towards the meeting now. Not going to be blinded. Realized there was some pressure coming out from the window. Realized there was a Candela coming around the corner. Decided, I need to get out of here. If I stay, I will die. So Mentalist now rotating around. I believe he set himself up deep inside a meeting somewhere, but in the meantime, Hertz has found himself, what a bit of a creep, find himself inside a laundry. So he has the opportunity to do a funny thing here by shutting someone down as he does, and now suddenly starts to fall apart for Bleed. They've taken that Mentalist above, they've just shut someone down inside the laundry in the sights, and suddenly W7m have a lot of room to play with here.
They do. And Hertz locking down 2 flanks, Freezer and bottom laundry, whilst that was going on. So no support could really be had there from the side of Bleed. As we mentioned, who's on the roam, we're completely locked away from the rest of the team. Hurt has maybe a read in the situation. Might be looking for a flank, but we see the outline. He's run back towards the bomb side and giving that up. So they will play this out on defense. 5 versus 3. Maybe Fish with that C4 on the hatch, but it should be expected. And yep, Nate is literally watching the angle as he gets tossed on up. So nothing will come of that. This will be a tough round for Bleed to hold up against. But if they could do it, it would be a pivotal moment.
Now they have set themselves up completely around the side of the E-box drop, and that means there's a lot of opening right here on Freezer and on Laundry. If that gets spotted out by W7m, they might just be sending 4 of their players down this direction and only have 1 person around on the actual E-box. You see right here, there's one on Pillar, there's one going to be on Blue, and the other one is playing around in the Freezer hallway. It is all centrated around that single hatch, which is not being taken whatsoever by W7m.
That's messy, scrappy. W7m, check your corners, take them all. 2 guys outside the group, but they're both locked out. Hurt could find 1, he does just that, but there's a second waiting for him as well.
Flashbangs coming through, Turd hoping to take the fight, is going to be fully blinded now. JV92 hoping to make that impact last, but they fall back. They knew that, okay, they did what we did. There's only 10 seconds left on the clock. They need to go for a plant, and thus Nate is now starting to push through. It's important that the cover from JV92 is going to be on point. Instead, they're going for fights. They're not going to try and go for the plant, and will manage to make it stick either way. And that is a decision that is like, okay, well, we could either go for a plant and have a 1v2 situation with potential utility, or we need to go for a fight because we're better than them. And that's kind of what they did here. They're like, we have a better success rate with fighting this into single 1v1s, rather than going for the plant and basically inviting them to come with their utility to try and take us out.
It's also just the surprise effect, right? Who expects them to push in like
with
that?
2 seconds left.
Exactly, like, they're gonna go for plant, guys. They have to just stay alive here. No. They're gonna run into you and take those fights just the way that they would like to. But it's way too close for comfort. What it was basically a 5 versus 2 or a 5 versus 3 came down to a 2v2 that could have gone either way. So W7m, they are not really as in this as it looks like. Yeah, it's 4-3, they're in the favor here, but 1 or 2 small details going one way or the other has been changing the outcome of these rounds.
They're getting away with it because they're this good. That's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
They're getting away with it because they're the double major champion of this year, and they just have that like raw fundamental skill that allows them to get away with this. If they are like a team that has been consistently grouped at majors, they wouldn't be getting away with these 5v2s, bringing it back to a 2v2 with 14 seconds left on the clock. You'd lose those rounds. So they have that kind of plot armor or safe line, you know, which they've developed themselves, we have to say. Yeah. But that's why they managed to bring back these rounds, even though it should seem like we should take them back.
Okay, let's say a more structured lineup here from W7m. They got the Flores drones, they got the Grim Bees, they got different pieces of utility to work with to deny the bomb site once they get there. clear out utility, and just kind of have like a more common pace where it's like a straight... Okay.
He took it personal that all the spawn peaks kept coming. He's like, I'm going to do this myself.
That definitely felt a little bit personal there. And Hertz, who's playing Flores, by the way, will lose out on all that active utility. So a crucial member to lose. And not like Iana, where sure the Gemini clone will get you some intel, but Iana is mostly commonly used as an entry operator. Losing her is kind of expected. Flores, not that kind of story. So now playing on the back foot, 4v5, all the attack inside.
Double stack up.
Less than ideal.
Double stack up onto the freezer there for just a second. I believe they've rotated out, or at least one of them. Reap still playing close with that shotgun, but they're rotating out because they've heard that there is pressure coming in from the security. That hatch might open up soon. You don't want to both be caught up in the middle of that. As that smoke canister gets used, that's just to buy yourself some extra time or to buy yourself a way out, because they will not chase you through it if you're trying to rotate back towards the side. Or at least, usually, they don't chase you through it. There is some madmen that do.
I certainly wouldn't. And we see here, double push up. They might go faster. The C2 members are kind of far out away from the bomb site, but no, they're still going to pay their respects here and get everything done. Open up all the hatches, rotate around. It doesn't necessarily seem like W7m have chosen what side they want to attack on. This could be a backside take or a front take. Right now, most players are relatively split, supplying pressure from multiple angles.
The fact that Reeves is still sitting there, and that is definitely going to give it away, as JV92 is going to go for a flashbang, might actually indicate that he's going to go for a hatch drop to try and take him down, but instead, the full rotation comes through. Aware of the fact that that's a threat, they are recognizing it, and not going to be trying to go for a one-on-one fight in close range against the British shotgun. Usually doesn't end well for the one on the receiving end of it. As they're still working on opening things up, there's still 40 seconds, plenty of time, but KZ has the opportunity to just move in blue and find a kill if he would have droned it. But Hoven in that corner will be shutting him down. The keeper barrier actually stopping the opportunity to shut down SVU is playing around on that actual pillar, and everything just seems to be going kind of south for W7m right now, as it's only up to Nade playing up above in the hatch, and he wasn't even able to find anything, as it's a flawless round for Bleed.
Oh, there's the KKKK in chat. That's on the bingo card. I'm not sure we got it yet, but yeah, that's basically how you say like lol, lol in like Portuguese. So I think they found that funny as well, because the keeper barriers locked out 3 separate attackers in that moment and completely stopped that plan from working. And yeah, Asami, pretty strong operator, but only if you use it correctly, and that's the difficult part about it.
If only Diana and Barrels would have used the Gemini replicator to check blue.
If only, right?
that would have made things a lot easier for them. But hey, 4-4, Bleed definitely putting up a good fight here on Oregon. And it's not like the previous map was super one-sided, but we are, fair to say, it should have been a 7-2 victory for the side of W7m, rather than Bleed being able to bring it back towards that 7-4. Now, we are seeing a Kali. Never mind. Okay, I was going to say, that is curious, because we do not really see that operator often. We've seen it earlier today, managed to pick up a single kill, I believe. But it is, I mean, especially on LAN, where everything just connects, you want to have that rate of fire, you want to have the volume of fire.
Yeah, you do.
Whereas, the single shot is like, you hit it, it's great, but if you miss it, then
really
you're probably dying because someone's going to send back an SMG at you.
Yeah, that is the name of the game, and that's why Kali's kind of tricky. Also, County on Oregon is not, it's not the map typically where you want to play here. It's not like you can sit like really far back, long on the side, gadget can't destroy that many things, I find, either. And W7m, they try these different kind of things in the rounds, and they're getting found out, or figured out rather, most of the time. Hertz tries to be sneaky on the generator window, and immediately he takes a bit of damage there. Has to be, peel off that angle, go elsewhere, etc. But Hertz, time and time again, so many times, will either get the opening kill or the opening death for his team. This time, he's on the right side of things. As Hoven gets shut down, let's mute off the board.
Yeah, give some payback for that last round, where Hoven is like, basically giving payback for the entire first half that we had, where it was Hertz spawn peeking every single round, but the last, where it was KZ, we then went on to a bit of a rampage. 4-4, now attacking, meeting, and kitchen. That does mean that you want to get the top 4 first. And as the boogie goes off, that's a lot of noise being made, so we have to talk a bit louder ourselves. And third, he's just wondering, is someone jumping in right behind it, or can I stay hidden? Because as long as there's no drone rolling through, he's in a crucial position out there.
Well, mid-round reinforcement, why not? Try and fortify the kid's rotation towards attic or pit, as we can call it. And just again, they've said, okay, 1 minute 30 seconds. We've gotten almost exactly one. Start peeling off, falling back, staying alive, prioritizing living here. Because this is a matter of trying to burn utility and burning time. Not that you want to win the round by getting kills upstairs, but all the other things. So the more the timer goes down, the higher the likelihood of them dropping the hatches. And there they go. Down they go.
Mentalist able to get a kill onto JV92 around in the small tower. So soon that would have been a quick jump out, find one of the players, and fade back out. Brings back to a 4-4 and a minute left on the clock, and still not a lot of control that is currently there for the side of W7m. And you even see players being around in the big tower right now. You see players in the small tower right now, in security right now, in meeting right now. Where do you go for a plant? You need to clear out something at least, and it feels like for now they want to go for kitchen, which isn't as directly contested by the side of Bleed as the other sides are. But there's still the opportunity for all of them to just collapse in onto that side.
I do think it's not a choice, though. It's relatively clear. Hurts bottom wide, 3 guys on the hatch. They gotta just kind of flash, go, and have a little bit of faith that the plan will work out. And if Hurts gets this kill in the hallway, that's going to be a great opening for them.
Plant goes down, 45 seconds soon to be on the clock as Hurts will find... Whoa, actually not the catch there. We'll find one of them, but the diffuser will be shut down, but it has been planted first, so we will still count down. Mentalist low on HP, Reaps is still on full. Hurts gets pushed into a fight after the wall bangs did connect at least slightly. Reaps looking to retake that top floor control. He's playing around with Effector. The air jump goes on, but there's no actual response to come through. Still somehow KC will come out on top though. Mentalist will come in to try and clean up the mess, however gets cleaned up himself, and W7m is going to be finding themselves back into the lead. But it's definitely a hard-fought round where they were trying to put the pieces together, like what is the best shot we have on actually getting this plan down, because we struggled with getting control.
I mean, they were half a second from losing that round because the plant just went down the second the planter died. So if Valkyrie flanks just a little bit quicker or whatever, the plant starts later, that would have been a different outcome. Again, the details are defining these moments between these two teams. And with that round loss and W7m getting into the lead for the first time on Oregon, they will effectively, or basically the first time, they'll basically call for that tactical timeout for Bleed to figure things out and see, can we push them to overtime or try and take this in regulation. Also, Mentalist on 14 kills, by the way.
Yeah, he's just been chilling, and he's been getting like some impact plays, but it's not like he's popping off like 4 flashy kills every round.
No.
But he's getting these like impact kills that go under the radar a little bit, right? It's like he's just constantly there. Every single round he's getting 1 or 2, but that puts you up that high on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean...
So it's like, you're not like dropping aces or like big 4Ks, but if you get 1 or 2 per round...
Yeah, I mean, it's 5-4 right now. If you get a 1 kill every single round, you're 9 kills.
Yeah.
Let's look at the kill count right here. Reaps 2, Asfi 2. You're not getting 1 kill a round. Mention is 14, Hoven 8, that's close. Turd 7, that's also close. So yeah, that's a pretty good stat line right now. And the highest gunner for W7m, for reference, is sitting on 9. And that's KC, who also... KC's crazy. He's still doing this. He's doing that. He has 5 kills less than Mentalist.
Yeah.
Look at that.
No, that's for sure. And that is also something that they need to keep in mind. But it's also why Bleed is so close up in this match, because they always have one person dropping a kill or 2 per round, and they have another person dropping a kill per round. There's only 2 players left at that point on the side of W7m that need to be cleaned up by the rest of the teammates. So with that, they find themselves in pretty good competition here, whereas in W7m it's a bit more like even. JV92 not having the best of games. He's finding himself in 2.
Yeah.
Everybody else is, you know, 6, 8, 9. So everybody else is pulling a weight, really.
And guess who I picked for my fantasy league team?
Yeah. JV92.
Exactly. It feels kind of...
Do you want a map 3 now, so he has an opportunity to redeem himself?
Or do I want to end it here and hope that he doesn't drop the ball in the third match?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question.
Because you like it worse.
It could still go negative there and even like decrease the score. Who knows?
Exactly. So yeah.
It's not your call to make in the end, but it's like
No,
you
it's
can
not.
have your preferences.
But I'm eagerly waiting for this. You see here aggression being pulled in. Hoven.
What?
Oh my
What?
God.
What? What are you doing? Why is that corner not being checked? W7m still come out on top of it because, I mean, Hurts is DBNO'd, but was it a corner? A simple drone would have done the trick. A simple quick check would have done the trick out there. You wouldn't have lost another player, as Nade
fast.
will find yet another one. They're just going to forget about Hurts right now. He's basically dead weight. They're washing him through the window as Asfi actually almost loses his life, trying to hold off on the down he managed to secure earlier.
This is tough because you want to get hurt up if you can, but it's not, oh, that's C4. No, it is done and dusted. But no one else falls in the midst of that. C4 does a bit of damage. So JV and Nate both low on health, but as is Asvi. This is pretty even for what this could be. But Reap's in a prime position. Remember, he only did 2 kills with him so far. He's not hit his mark, but Asvi's there to save the round possibly.
It's completely blinded as well. What's he did? Reap's able to find a kill. Fiddlepox brings it back to a 1v1. We've had plenty of those in this game so far, and Fiddlepox has no idea where Reaps is. Also full HP. Keep a barrier to play behind. Everything is stacking in favor of Reaps out here. There's also no more E1Ds that he can play with from that line, so it really comes down to the gun skill now. He has a drone. Doesn't know where he does know where he isn't, so that means that he must be around in games as he goes for the hop over. Diffuser is not actually in pocket. Reppings are starting to come through. He's trying to play in the back of that, but of course it is also Reeves that is being told there is a repping on you now. Do you really want to go for the fight? As you do, the Kiba barrier is the distraction, and Bleed pick up the round.
The red ping was a bit of a bait there. It wasn't communicated clearly to Philippox that there's a keep it barrier between you and the target. Pre-firing won't mean a thing in this scenario. And yeah, small mistakes being made, and Bleed again on a smaller map playing so close together. They are so good at finding those trades. It starts off messy because Hoban shouldn't have gotten that initial kill, but it does go in the favor of W7m trading out positively. Complete chaos in the server. And again, JV, my guy, not finding what we need here from him.
You mean for your fantasy league?
Well, my fantasy league as well. And for W7m, because when you're playing, you know, you're going 2-8 and you're playing like second intro right now because JV's often in the early gunfights, you need to either get traded or, you know, get that trade yourself. And sure, if JV is just a body bag for them where he walks in a door, he dies, and someone else kills somebody behind him, that's fair enough. But surely, playing defense first as well, JV could muster more than a mere 2 kills in 6 defensive rounds.
Now, Asfi in that last round actually was playing the big tower, of course. Should have been picked up as they started firing through the window because he knew he was watching it. Then he was fully flashed when he was running towards pit. Somehow got a kill. I didn't even see the person that he killed at that point. I'm like, I don't know where he was. You fired some bullets, might have just gone through a wall and killed someone there. And managed to stay alive. Of course, he got taken down right afterwards, but those 2 kills were hugely important from him to confirm to. That really allowed Bleed to get into it, and that shows you that when the players who aren't really in the game start getting into the game, that is when these rounds start getting more and more into their favor. Of course, it was a 1v1 in the end. Again, what's this? The 4th, 5th one that we've had so far?
Like 3rd or 4th, I think. It's up there. And I love the Capcan, by the way, because W7m, they've been going fast. Yeah, they got IQ now, but again, you have no business being down here, Hurts. It's been 50, not even 50 seconds, 40. Like, relax here, right? You got a drone in the building.
It's a very nasty keeper barrier, by the way.
Yeah, this is one of those, like, YouTube, TikTok people who are like, oh, use this keeper trick and get free kills and rank. And it's like, okay, but not against me, please. Because I will be infuriated by those kind of keepers. The one ways.
What can you do against it? You can try and get some X-Kairos on it and blow it up like that as Reaps. It's just a Gemini for now, but he's definitely known of the fact that they know where he is. Are they going to collapse on him, though? Flashbang seemingly coming in. They just take out the barbed wire with the Gone 6, so they can walk in cleanly. However, oh, actually, they didn't. I'm not sure where the Gone 6 went to.
Yeah, this happened last time as well.
Oh! He knows. He knows. There comes a smoke. That's the confirm. Oh, no.
He missed it.
Where is
I think it hit the door frame.
Oh, it's above it. That's all the smokes used. Asfi will get the kill onto JV92. Again, will not be finding any points for your fantasy league. I'm sorry to tell you. And that means that we are probably headed towards a Bleed map points right now because they are close to be finding themselves onto 6 here. Herds very low as well from that first early engagement. So Nate and Philippus really have to carry some weight here. But as they drop down the hash, it's just a shutdown.
Not a good look, not at all. They're locked out. The fire, the Goya canisters, easy going out from Philippox, and he is pretty much alone. Hurts, 1 HP, E-barrier, blocking him out. C4 primarily from turret as well. There's no easy access points, and 2 members on elbow, typed up together, 1 standing and 1 crouched.
It's going to be the lock-off as well. Flawless round. Again. A second one to come through from the side of Bleed, and surely we're going to be headed into a tactical timeout now from the side of W7m because they still have the opportunity to, I believe. Why not take it? Because you're map point against. You surely want to lock this off in 2 and not go to the last map.
No point not to, right? I mean, unless you really think you got what it takes, but the way these rounds are going, I don't really believe in that right now. I feel like this is going to be a Bleed Oregon victory, you know, 7-5, or worst case in overtime. And then we gotta see Border. And Border is kind of like Oregon, where a bit of a 50-50 map. Gunfights define a lot of things, and just like Oregon as well, playing close together and playing those trades, that's gonna get the W. And right now, Bleed, they are actually the better team at doing just that.
Now, it is going to be the meeting hall that we're headed to. That was won by W7m before. But that did come down to that weird plant that we saw that was almost shut down when the cover wasn't just right. So are we going to see a more directional approach from W7m to come through? Like, you don't need the entire map for this site, right? Like, you can just plant kitchen. You can just plant meeting. All you need is big tower, really, and the attic. And then you can go for a safe plant. So it's like you don't need to take everything. Why take those fights towards Bleed when they start winning them in the later rounds?
Yeah, I want to see more like adaptation from W7m. Stop playing into the strengths of Bleed and play into your own strengths instead, because with Hurst and Casey playing so fast away from the team, sure, sometimes they get the opening kill, but often they also just lose a lot of HP. They don't gain anything meaningful. Exactly. Yeah. They don't get anything meaningful out of it. Like, okay, you go bottom on your stairs, you see a key barrier, great, you could have droned that, for example. It's just like they're so eager to get into the action that they start losing like this side of the bigger picture.
Why doesn't someone drone ahead of him if he wants to be in so quickly, right? Like, that's also an option. But as the Candelas come through, Kay's definitely aware of the fact that there must be someone around in the tower, but someone's also in green. Hertz will take him down, so that's gets taken down himself by the shotgun. There's two players inside of the big tower just playing above there, so that's going to be quite difficult to get rid of, especially since they're playing that with shotguns. So they're going to be closing up those close angles. You need to find a different way to challenge these players. Maybe a quick spray through the windows will be doing it. Nay definitely doing that as he opens up, gets his drone inside, wants to get the information out, but the rappel in is definitely not covered because of the verticality that's been opened up. The E1D gets used, don't really get anything out of that, so W7m, they're using some utility but not able to make any ground whatsoever.
Yeah, and the thing is, if there's two players in big tower, why not just rotate away, have maybe, you know, Napier holding the rotate, but instead the primed and ready C4 takes down that kill, shotgun follows through. It's a massacre favoring Bleed.
Two players still left though on the side of W7m against the 3 off Bleed. Still that one player inside, oh actually no, rotated out of the tower, but we have one next to the bomb chassis. So the usual stage plant, that is going to be a no-go. There's going to be C4s that they have available to challenge that. These players in the long angles that can send some shots downrange to challenge that. So they really need to drone things out. They really need to get the information out. And I think that's what JV92 just tried to do, as a drone just got shot out. So others are now trying to gain the information. I believe they might have spotted Mentalist sitting in that corner. At least they should have. They haven't. That's more problematic, as definitely some shots coming now. 50 seconds. There is plenty of time, but how are you going to be removing Mentalist from that position? He still has that C4 available. There's still the player onto the rotation as he gets caught off. They need to cut it wide, and they both get shut down. Bleed will be able to take the map that pushes to 3 as they take a map off the major champions.
I mean, the back-to-back major champions, and again, like this might be the beginning of that upset we spoke about for the bingo card, right? APAC for the upset. W7m, they need to look more alive on Border. There's no excuses now. You're being taken to the third and final map in the best of 3 series. If you lose that, you will lose this series, and you really, really shouldn't.
Oven and Mentalist, a huge game. 15 and 18 kills respectively there. They really just picked up the entirety of Bleed, put them in their backpack and said, okay, you can fire from our shoulder now, so you don't have to walk, and we're just going to be able to find success that way. So some of the congratulations are already coming through, or at least from W7m, like, okay, let's recoup, let's quickly chat, because we cannot afford to lose this.
No, I mean, you can argue they can't afford to lose it, because will they get 5th place in groups and go home? Very, very, very
probably
likely,
not,
right? But at the same time, they really shouldn't be dropping the ball here. When it comes to like themselves, their expectations, their fans, etc., and the reality of things, they should be beating Bleed in this 1v1, sorry, best of 3.
All right, but before we are headed to that decider to see if we can lock off another part of the bingo card and we can give Bleed a victory, we're headed to a quick break.
서울로 인비테이션을 와가지고 기쁘고 기쁠 만큼 대회에 열심히 임하도록 하겠습니다. 일단 첫 경기 상대가 페이지고 그다음 뭐 SSG나 울브즈, 블리스 이렇게 있는데 저희가 뭐 미니게임만 잘 이긴다면은 충분히 할 수 있는 상대라고 생각을 합니다. 일단 첫 경기는 페이지인데 일단 페이즈가 브라질 팀이라서 뭐 총싸움 같은 걸 좀 잘 하는 편이라서 그거를 이기기 위한 조금 같이 팀적으로 움직이는 그런 움직임을 좀 많이 하려고 연습을 하고 있습니다. 페이즈 긴장해라. 저번에는 졌었는데 저번에는 아쉽게 졌는데 이번에는 이겨본다.
My name is Cameraman. I play for Los, and I'm the IGL captain. For our goal to be top 6 and maybe win tournament, we need to be prepared for what's coming. So we worked really hard since Atlanta to be in our best shape to be here. I think our most difficult match would be Sonics. But if we play our game the way we do, we don't have a problem with that. The preparation against Falcons, it's a bit hard because they changed their roster, so we don't know what to expect. They have a Brazilian coach as well that I played with him. We are confident on playing and stuff like that, so it's more like what we like to play over of what's their weaknesses. Well, Falcons, I know you guys are a bit like unexpected. I don't know what to expect from you guys, but you know what to expect from us, and you know that's going to be a hard game for you.
My name is Faiz. My game tag is Jalad. I'm with Team Falcons and I play as a flex. We are really happy that we made it. It's our first time for the MENA region to qualify for the SI, and we're really excited and hopefully we do well. We had a little bit of change in our playstyle, of course. We learned our mistakes. We're getting better, and hopefully this SI we will prove it. The group we're in is Sonics, Cars, Loss, and Fury. They're all good, very good teams. I don't think there's a top team from them. They're all very good, and we practice for them all, and hopefully we do our best. Our first game is against Loss. We never played them. I think their playstyle is quite similar to ours in some way, and we're very excited to play against them. Loss, be ready.
that is scary because what if he's had a full day of rest?
We know that these guys can shoot. We know that these guys are mechanically gifted players. That is not a question. They showed that today. They showed it inside of this game, and they'll continue to show it inside of the series. It comes down to those mistakes. It comes down to that coordination. It comes down to some of that decision making. That's where we saw them lack. If you can aim, you can aim. You can aim on 1 hour sleep. You can aim on 20 hours sleep. But what you can't do is make critical decisions in the moment, and that's what we saw lacking.
Yeah, and like even just touching up on Fury, I mean, Fury had the prep. They had everything. Obviously, this is a different team, so maybe that prep really didn't get used how they wanted it to be used because yesterday it wasn't the same team. But still, this has been a constant issue that I've seen is just the lack of adapting once a team figures you out, or not even being able to figure out the team. And watching how the game played, like we said, they were getting those gifted rounds. They didn't really earn them.
Yeah, something as well that you wanted to touch upon, Ollie, particularly were the bans of this because you found them rather intriguing.
Well, I mean, it's just the way that Siege is played at the minute, right? You look at a map like Nighthaven, you look at what's available to you. If you've got an Azami, if you've got a Fen, and if you've got a Solace, you're going to have a pretty good time. That's exactly what Falcons had. They started off on the defense, and they used it every single round without fail, and it gave them a good number of rounds. It gave them a really good head start. Obviously, Fury had that same benefit. It just turns out that Falcons were a little bit more equipped to deal with that. Yeah,
but it also brings the question in terms of Fury and their preparation for this labs, particularly how much actually went into it, and how much went into it with the thought process of, oh, we're going to be playing against a different Falcons than the one that we saw yesterday.
I mean, it makes me worried because you're trying, like, in some ways, in a mindset, you are trying to over-prepare in a way or try to get that free win because you saw what just happened, but now seeing the result of your own play, it's less about your own prep at this point, and it's more of what you're putting in as a team. Like, scratch the prep at that point, because if that's what your prep and result is going to look like, then you need to rethink how you're going to approach this next map. Granted, now your backs are against the wall.
Something that we did see Fury try and do was reset when they were on the attack. There were a couple of times when, because of what was available and because of Falcon's playstyle and it leading into their playstyle so well, we saw Fury at times trying to reset, trying to take that moment and take that breath. And it worked in some occasions, but it never really fully worked. They never got that full mental reset off, and they never got that ability to reclaim that man count advantage. Falcons did a fantastic job on the opening pick, but they also did a great job on trading that opening pick when they lost it.
Yeah, and if this map being a win from Falcons might not have been what you expected, we have a Stream B going on at the same time, and we have Bleed going up against W7m. Now, to my surprise particularly, Bleed had just taken a map off of W7m.
I mean, Bleed didn't look bad at the Atlanta Major either. I mean, they were really close to making main stage, losing, I believe, to Dark Zero in the end, but they pushed Dark Zero to the brink. So I think every map went 8-7, 8-7, and it was just small things that they lost at. So I don't want to say it's like a huge surprise, but Bleed they're showing why that they're here. They're showing why you shouldn't sleep on them. They're showing why that they're contenders, and taking a map off W7m is something to be proud of, nonetheless.
Yeah, something to be proud of and maybe something to celebrate. They looked happy, but not as happy potentially as you might expect them to be, especially the low Sonics game that we saw. The energy, Ollie, in the room at that point in time was insane. We're translating it now. We have Falcons going up against Fury, and it doesn't feel like that same energy is being exuded.
These players are tired. Like, you know, these players are tired. I want to save their energy for the game. Save that energy for your brain power in the server. Don't use the whooping and the hollering. Twister's going to do enough of that for you. Twister really gets behind the team. You know, you can see him there. He's giving the big shoulder rubs. He's giving the big fist pumps. He's dapping everybody up, and that's what you need. You need that guy to bring that energy.
If I'm coming off a 20-hour flight too and playing an intense game, trust me, there isn't going to be a single yell coming from me. It's going to be a nice fist bump. Let's go into the next round.
But then you're looking at the side of Fury, and they have had that break. They have had that day of rest yesterday. So what's there? Is this just potentially what we're used to from Fury's side of things? Do you think bringing that energy up could have potentially given them a little bit more momentum on their own map?
I think it's team by team. I think some teams really work well with that, you know, yelling, hype, building up energy. And I think some teams just like to be calm, cool, collect. They don't want to get overzealous. They don't want to get overhyped then for a shocking result and being like, well, this is a result of, you know, not being overhyped. And it is good to, you know, try to maybe bring a little hype, not be hype. It's kind of like just feeling out the grounds. But I think right now with kind of how things are going on, it does make a little sense that they aren't getting too...
Hello and welcome back everybody to the B-Stream Late Night Show, where Bleed has just managed to take a map off the double major winners, even though there's been a spawn kills coming through on the side of W7m. And now, as you are witnessing these replays, you're seeing that Bleed are putting up some pressure onto W7m. They start to rumble a little bit.
Yeah.
A point has been lost already. Will it become more than just that?
I mean, it's looking very possible. I'm slowly starting to become a Bleed enjoyer, let's put it that, because the fundamentals are looking better and better. Okay, on Clubhouse it was more like structured, it wasn't all that great, but on Oregon, it was great. The trading was there, the droning, the decision making, the adaptation, and more importantly, it doesn't seem like Bleed care about who their opponent is. They're having fun, they're smiling, they're laughing, and more importantly, they're maintaining confidence despite getting shut down early on Oregon. They really came back strong on the side swap. Their defensive side was very impressive. Nice.
Even then, like when they lose rounds, they're still just smiling.
Yep.
It's like you see them lose like a 1v1 that is like probably you would be like, ah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Should have won that one.
damn, should have won that one. And they just start laughing. It's like, we shouldn't have been in this position.
Yeah, exactly. It was way closer than I thought it was going to be. But like, 15-8, 15-8.
Yeah, that is insane.
30 kills between two players.
I thought it was more mental. I thought it was 18.
He slowed down.
Must have been
towards the end.
no, it must have been a typo. I believe my own eyes.
You believe your own eyes? You think they stole some kills from him and gave them to Hoven?
No, I saw Hoven on 15 as well.
Oh, okay.
Someone has stolen the kills and I don't know who it is.
Well, the thing is here, JV going 2-10, that is not great. The rest of W7m very close together, like 11 and 9 to only 2 kills between top and bottom. Or sorry, 8 rather, 3 kills between top and bottom. They're doing pretty well. But the injury statistics of W7m, not what they usually are. So, individually, of course, JV, but as a team, Bleed, they came out stronger, and they clutched out in a couple of rounds as well. Those 1v1s were lethal from them, and I think by like 3 or 4 like individual 1v1 scenarios, we had some 2v2s, a lot of chaotic moments in that game.
It's been very chaotic, and W7m just hasn't been able to really control the pace because it's been more difficult than they thought this game was probably going to be.
Yeah.
They find themselves with 40 seconds left in a 4v4, and it's like, well, we don't actually have the control that we were hoping for, and as such, they just have to throw their bodies at it. But there's no better map to throw bodies at one another than Border, currently in the map pool.
Look at the vote.
It started to go back towards Bleed. It's not a lot of extra believers now, but it's starting to get there.
I mean, there's almost 20% increase from map 2 to map 3. That is pretty significant for a social vote. Yeah. That's pretty good. So, can they do it? Can it take us all the way? Will W7m say enough is enough? Orbiter bans. W7m, they banned Monty on the first 2 maps back-to-back. On the third, it will be something different. The Ying being taken off the board instead. This is, of course, the map of Border, so Ying does tend to have a bit more presence than that of Monty, but Monty is not entirely out of the question. And Homan says, thank you for banning Ying.
And I don't know if this is we are going to be using the hell out of Monty, or if this is we don't have to ban Ying.
That's the thing. Oh, you hate him too.
Well, okay, it's a yes, but it might be we love Monty more.
That's what I was thinking. They might bring out something new because this is the dangerous part. If you ban the same thing twice, and then the third map you change things around, you might start seeing a different playstyle. You might start seeing something you've not seen before, and that might be problematic. Same.
That was about Julio, by the way.
Yep.
It's
Now it's personal.
I was about to call a timeout before we even started. It's
just
like,
to talk
listen the hell up.
Yeah. You gotta have my back. I am your coach.
Respect me.
Let's see, what was it? Doga B and Mira there from the side of Bleed. Now, Mira ban is... It's interesting because with the change to Ash and Kali, being able to like breach the window, basically or smash the window, so to speak, we don't see Mira played all that often, and even more so, it's quite rare to see her banned out because it's not hard to fit Ash in the lineup. Turret right now hovering Ash actually, so why ban the Mira? But if you don't really want to ban anything else, like the Valkyrie for example, you might as well just take it out of the equation. Then you don't have to play the Ash if you don't want to, and Turret can get more freedom as to where to go on the map. He doesn't have to be a magnet towards those windows and always look for them and clear them first.
And especially this top floor is prime real estate for Mira, right?
Yeah,
like there's so many good places where you can play it and just hold down the entire balconies and just really make life difficult.
10 seconds to go.
So I do understand it to some extent that it is going to be banned. However, that does mean that Fenrir and Azami and Warden are all going to be open.
Oh no. What is... I have not learned yet that this is a bad idea.
Well, I mean, it's a new map, and apparently, spot out the player. Missed the opportunity, so Hers has to go to plan B now for the spawn peak.
Just run out the door. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it's just how things have been going. He's been hyper-aggressive from the side of Herds, and it started working less and less over the course of that last map. And Zap, luckily they do recharge. It's not permanent. Oh, that went through. I was going to say, it's like, huh? Surely that looked like it was aimed right at the barricade, but where did it go, though?
I don't even know what he was aiming for.
The camera? Oh, no, the barbed wire, but he didn't hit it properly.
Yeah, I was going to say it's still there.
Thank you, Observer, for pointing out our mistakes.
Yeah, I had no idea. Oh, well, missed opportunity, I suppose. That's one ash charge in the grave, so to speak, but not the most crucial thing that to be missed. Okay, oh,
it's fine.
It's fine. You know, these small things, they add up, Hap, okay?
Of course they add up, but it's the... I mean, they're not dead yet. It's not like we've seen him slip from the roof and just go DBNO, you know? It's like,
I don't think we've seen that at this major yet, actually. We have?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed it.
I don't know who it was anymore, but someone slipped off. It was Clubhouse.
Ooh. Yep, you be like that sometimes.
He's going to lean in. Hertz is taken down by Hoven. He started off to really get into the game over the last map, and he's continued it on, playing around with that DMR, taking down Hertz. Of course, he's been very aggressive, but that's the keeper barriers gone. And those keeper barriers have mostly been set up around the CCTV area, I believe. So the actual site itself not having the same amount of protection here. And I might be a bit critical regarding that. But it's like, if you have Azami, you might as well use it around the actual site rather than try and spawn peek with the operator and make your own position really strong just to receive a headshot and basically have it all be for nothing.
Well, I think that's fair. You know, the risk versus reward. Also, speaking of momentum, like, with how bleed they played on Oregon, if they get the first couple of round victories here on Border, they still got the momentum, they're fired up, they're feeling good about it. They're a bit slow right now, they're completely locked out. Philipbox and Casey finding one each, and all of a sudden, that early advantage has completely fallen apart.
That's really going back into the hands of W7m out of nowhere. Ashley being down as well. The diffuser dropped on the ground. It's only up to Mentalist now as he finds the very first. Knows about the second. Couldn't quite connect. The shot sat there. W7m still able to find that very first round into their favor. It is basically as soon as they were looking to go for the area denial and go for a move, that's when everybody decided to just lean into a fight. Because it's like you're setting up. That's when you're most vulnerable. Because you have gadgets out rather than all guns. It's just a bit surprised that came through.
Yeah, and this is the one dangerous part about the map of Border, is that it's a lot more like loose fighting, longer range out of nowhere than that of Oregon. Because Oregon, like most maps, it has like a flow, a logical step. Okay, we're gonna go here, then we're gonna clear this, and we expect people to be in these exact positions. Border is like, the second you enter the map, you might get shot through a wall from very far away out of nowhere, and if the defenders want to, they will happily run toward you because how this map is kind of nullified. I don't feel like retaking a Border is all that hard compared to other maps, whereas Oregon, it's all staircases. So expect W7m to run at you continuously, like we also saw in Oregon, probably with a bit more success here because of the nature of the map.
It's basically you're in sight, you're on the site. 5 seconds left. With Border. Like, it's not that much to it. There's at most 2 rooms separating you from the bomb site at any given time. It's just a paper thin map. It's a small map. It's a compact map, which is why it is such a more heavy on the TDM than it is for other maps. Where, as you said, there's the step-by-step plan that you have to follow.
Yeah.
Here you just open a door, you walk in front. Like, it's how simple it can be.
See now what the plan is. Easters controls a good first starting point here. It's you can almost say the heart of the map. You get a lot of access points here, and you can kind of circulate elsewhere from that location. It's also why Philipbox extended out an office, holding on to the nearby area. Of course, Valkyrie, good intel.
You want to know something that threw me off? The compass sometimes doesn't align properly, and I've been calling it easters for years, and suddenly it was north earlier on. Like, if you look on the right-hand side of the screen, it's south. It's like, have I been saying it wrong my entire life?
Yeah.
But no, it's still the east there, so I'm glad you said it, so I know I'm not wrong.
That would be fun. Why is it called east stairs? It's on the north side. Well, good question.
That's a good question. It's, back in my day... Some magnetic interference messing up with the compasses.
Mandela.
Mentalist! He just saw his head through a grenade. He's like, well, I'm in the middle of it now anyway. Finds the kill, so that's the opening once again to the side of Bleed. Been getting better and better at actually getting those. Nade those, looking to lean into the fight as Mentalist takes a small amount of damage. Of course, he is quite close to the side, playing inside that bathroom. There's Reeves, he's just holding off. I mean, he knows that there is going to be someone in there, but he doesn't really want to extend himself too much, as there's also a player in the fountain as Nate finds Hoven. It's definitely, again, falling back into favor of W7m slightly, with Mentalist being damaged as well. Reeves now being shut down by Nate. Said it before, they were playing that on a contact basis there, so you cannot really get away with getting 3 kills out there.
Also, they haven't shut down those downgrade cameras, so all this intel that they're acting upon. Imperator goes out, he catches him, Mentalist goes down. You have turret on the IQ, not using scanner whatsoever, and this is the punishment. They have intel, they act upon it, they hunt you down. Turret in 1v4 will exit the building and try and retrieve out safely, but no, Casey will chase him down. And W7m, 2 straight, very convincingly.
This is the W7m we are used to seeing.
Certainly.
This is the amount of dominance that they need to show as well. And of course, this is Bleed not really playing into the game the best they can. It's an instant timeout to come out as well. It's very early, but you can understand it considering that these 2 rounds, they've basically not been on the board at all.
Yeah, and typically on border, you're expecting like 2, 3, 4 attacking rounds, right? It's typically a very attacker-favored map. And I like the idea of calling a timeout before things get too bad. Try and catch the mistake before it grows and then fix it. Whereas some teams will call a timeout on like the 5th round. They're down 0-5 or like 1-4. Let's take a timeout to fix the
fix it for 1 round.
1 round.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you can talk about defense on sideswap as well, but why not call a tactical timeout at 0-2 or 0-3? Try and, you know, get an equal half, and then also, of course, go on to defense. So I really respect Julio for this timeout. I hope it pays off as well. And even if it didn't, hopefully they can just calm the players down and talk about what is going wrong, what the mistakes might be doing right now.
And there's, of course, multiple ways to do timeouts. If it's like mentality-based, it's okay to do it around 5. You should see them become cocky or like downbeat. If it's strategy-based, indeed, as you say, you want to do it before the halfway point, so at least you can equalize the half, or at least, you know, you've done everything you can to equalize that half. So it is probably just being outclassed right now, and them needing to flip a switch and get into this game a little bit differently, maybe a bit more aggressive to some extent, focused on 1 point rather than trying to take the entire map or like half of the map at the same time. So maybe that's what they're going in for. You see Glass, you see
they wish they had Ying now. They wish that because this is a classic into the window, smoke plant with the Glass, and Ying the drone holds the bathroom. That's exactly what this lineup is for. But there is no Ying available. It's banned out by W7m. But on the other side, there's no Warden in active play from the defensive side. They can go for a side rush here. I would argue, knowing what we know, it's quite good. EMP the window, let's go in aggressively, maybe gets the plant down, Glass covers the smoke, this might work.
Maybe I would have brought a Kappa Tower or something, right? So you could put the smokes and the fire in as well from the incendiary bolt. They know it's clear indeed, so they have the opportunity to move quick now. But they only get 1 chance at this. If they fail, there's going to be opportunity to respond. There's going to be E1D, there's going to be smokes, there's going to be EMP. That is going to be a warning sign towards the side of W7m that something is happening. The good lines are stuck inside of the feet of Mentalist. He needs to go for a plant. His kills do start to come through in favor of Bleed. And JV92 has no clue what's happening. Actually, ping come through. What was that from? Was that a bulletproof camera? It must have been. They have the opportunity to look through those smokes, of course. So the fuse are now dropped in the middle of the side, but it is a 2-on-4. It's salvageable. There's 2 minutes left on the clock, and you have a 2-minute advantage. Surely this is transferable for Bleed.
Should be. Just gotta convert it. Slow things down. They got 2 minutes. They don't have to commit to that chaotic place any longer. And they win out the important gunfire. Turret with 3 kills in the round. Looking for a 4th. It's JV92 upstairs on East Catwalk. And he doesn't even get the kill. Shut down is he from SV. And all of a sudden, Bleed, after a tactical timeout, they turn things around, back to smiling, and back in control.
But it is one of those throwaway rounds to some extent. You can try that once. The second time it's not going to be working because they're going to be fully aware of the fact that you might be going quick. There will be a second person on site. Is that strats, by the way, being shown?
Yeah, there are some papers being
There's
shown
some papers
there.
being out there. Would it be about W7m setup? That could be. So it's like, this is how they're going to play. Now you know. Either way. Does that count? No, that's not an interview. So it's
No. Doesn't count.
Armory. There's opportunities for quick plays here as well. You know what that is? You definitely know.
The Archives take? Or
yeah, I mean, look at the setup.
Yeah, I mean, Monty's open, right?
Yeah, but also Ossa.
Oh yeah, Ossa as well, also a great one actually. So I mean, yeah, so after the timeout, 2 rounds in a row, seemingly, they're gonna go for these direct, fun, quick attacks, that cannot be a coincidence. And I know that someone like Demo, our colleague here as a fellow cast and analyst, he also says when he plays Border, he thinks you should play like Blitz and Monty every single round because every bomb that you can approach extremely quickly with good coordination, like we just witnessed. So I like this change up in pace from Bleed, trying to take more control and direct things more aggressively, but a response has been made. There are 2 C4s in action and JV92 on the ward, and that could be the counterplay for the smokes.
3 C4s actually in play.
Oh,
so
3 C4s, sorry.
they're definitely going to have to do some baiting here on the side of Bleed if they want to get themselves in with that success.
Castleberry.
I mean, there is going to be the EMP, so what they could do is smoke and continue throwing EMPs while they try and go for that plant. That's a way to stop the actual C4s to go through.
They gotta punch the barricade.
Yeah, they're punching the barricade, and the feet are getting shut out. That is the end of this round.
That's terrible. I mean,
where was the Ash? Oh, they swapped.
Yeah,
Never mind. I was going to say,
so
they had an Ash.
They had a Gun 6, which they used in the window itself, but then the door is also cancelled. They gave it away way too early, but let's say that hadn't happened. There's no one on site besides Nate and JV, so not much to stop them. And JV's now dead from back below. That's massive. Only 1 C4 can stop them. That's when Nate's hands without the mute.
Yeah, that's for sure, but it is definitely been pulled already, or at least he's playing quite close. And, you know, the Thatcher cannot EMP and plant at the same time. Hertz will find the kill onto Hoven, though. That's the Thatcher now dropped as well. A Repellin, I believe, is coming in from the sandwich window. That's shut down as Hertz finds him, and suddenly it's only up to Turk. Now he's playing down below. And that's going to be a very dangerous and hard cleanup to go through. I mean, some players were running outside. He will find the very first. And now, as they go on, they, I think they wanted to open it up with a grenade, and it just bounced back a bit too far.
Oh,
maybe it rolled a bit too far, bounced back a little bit, and just opened it. Didn't open it up.
There was an explosion, and I couldn't tell what it was from, but I guess it might have been the nade, yeah. So a small issue that, like, we didn't get like a first-hand view of it, so like we don't know exactly what happened, but Mentalist said that the nade didn't work the way he wanted it to, at least, and that significantly delayed that entire push. Unlucky.
Did he say F nades?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He said F nades or F me. I'm not sure. Yeah. I mean, it is frustrating. Oh wait, hold up.
Yeah, custom. I saw being picked earlier. It's like, are they trolling?
I mean, so back in the day,
it's definitely playable.
It's definitely playable. You sound so confident when you say that. It's playable.
Is it playable? I mean, you can go here and play, so by that definition, it's playable.
Yeah, okay, fair. It's definitely playable in that regard, but it's strategically difficult because normally on a map like this, on a map like this especially, sorry. You're gonna play in the bomb, floor above the bomb site. That is CCTV.
Yep.
But the issue with that is that is not a holdable position. Like, you can start here, you can hold on to it for a bit, you will lose control unless your opponents are absolutely trolling. The second the attackers can control over it, you will lose the bomb site shortly after. So it is a do or die kind of strat, or you are fully committed to a very specific part of the map, and you will live or die in that position.
You know, it's a great way to hold the top floor,
which
having both Azami and Castle to lock off some doors.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Like, they don't have much to actually get rid of that from distance. Like, they have 3 Selmas they can use to get rid of the Kiba barriers. So they can, theoretically, completely restructure that top floor and use it that way to make it a lot more defendable. Because are you going to use your Selmas to get rid of the Kiba barriers?
I mean, probably not.
Depends on the barrier in the place, I guess.
Yeah, the priority of it. See, these stairs is a good start point as always. Asfi making sure that he pays that respect to the map itself. So you know what, it's important, I will take care of that. Casey doing Casey things, just fighting, but again, Hoven winning it out multiple times now, just on border alone. And slowly, security control will be lost with W7m, just leaving JV on smoke of all operators in that prime position, pretty isolated.
Does that open up next to it?
It is.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can just shoot out the mute gemmer, right?
Yeah, I think this is on
a grenade on
the wall.
Oh, didn't get it.
Not,
you can definitely shoot that.
You can definitely shoot it. Did they run out of reinforcements? No, they
Your
have a spare.
IQ.
Okay,
you can see it's there.
I think they overthought that. You know, like, oh, it's gotta be tucked in the corner. It wasn't.
Yeah, okay, sure, but like you could check with your scanner and be like, oh, no, it's right there. But okay, it's fine.
It's hard to use.
It is going to be only 2 left on the board now for the side of W7M, though. Philipbox trying to go a bit aggressive outside. That gives away at least his position. So there's 1 unaccounted for, and that's Nade. He's currently upstairs. We also see Philipbox running upstairs or trying to play this together and make sure that they find some success that way. But if they just simply drone out the site, they know there's a good opportunity to go for a plant now. Is Nade nowhere close to it? As he's dropping down right now, there's a castle barricade to drop him from directly getting back to it. So what he can do is run outside, jump through the window, or he has to rotate all the way around on the white and metal stairs. And as the plant is happening, he hears that. He knows that they need to move. He gets the first, but gets shut down right afterwards by Ashley jumping in from above.
There's a great collapse there, the 3v1 basically, and nope, let's not go for the plant. Let's secure this kill, and with that also the round. And Customs, it doesn't get played all that often for a very good reason. Of course, it can work, but not very playable.
We see it occasionally. We see it one even less.
Yeah, we do. It is extremely rare, and there it is. Let's go. You know how every team says the same generic sentence every time? It's funny how no one's different there. No team is like, they have their own slogan, you know?
I think it's just the raw emotion that comes out.
You just like, you spew that, woo, let's go!
It's like just pure emotion, and like, you choose the strong words to come through, and let's go, of course, like, has that meaning.
Yeah. It's just one day.
Like, yeah.
It's gotta be a team who says something absurd every time. I was like, what is this?
I mean, you guys probably shout out, "Let's go" as well, right? It's like
we did. That's what you do. You know, that's literally what you do. You're weird if you don't.
It would be weird if you start shouting "Lochem Ipsum." You know, it's like.
Is that Dutch? Like what?
No, Lochem Ipsum. That's the filler text from Latin that they use to check if.
Oh my god. Okay, that's too advanced.
It's placeholder text for if you do graphics design or anything else, really.
Oh my god.
Have you never heard of Lorem Ipsum?
No, not to my knowledge. I'm not very cultured.
Oh, I figured out now.
Yeah, I know.
Finally, I can make a reference that
other
someone else doesn't understand.
Yeah. I mean, I work at Parker and he will say stuff. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Emmy always references movies. I don't know. I know that's going to happen when I'm casting with Carter as well.
She made that point to me earlier where she's like, when it happens, links will work together. It'll be so
Carter's going to be so annoyed because I don't understand 90% of the things he says.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame.
Now, Bleed has been really getting themselves well into this game. And of course, like the nade, if that would have popped off, that might have been a plan actually to go through because that entire plan broke apart because they had to punch the wall.
Yeah.
So how that would have gone, we don't know. Yellow pinks to come through. JV92 will get one, but instantly traded out. And actually will find the response. It's a castle gun. It's not really an impact operator. I think it hurts more on the side of Bleed that you lose the finger, you lose the heals, but also the opportunity to boost yourself through flashbangs in this meta especially.
No, I fully agree. This definitely favors the defensive side more than the attack, and also map control. Like, yeah, they get a kill from Bleed, but they gain no map control from it. They died bottom east stairs. It's not really a playable territory for them as of yet. But good things are happening. Turret using the gadget off IQ, scanning those IQ, or the Valkyrie cameras rather, trying to deny the intel. But then comes the Asami, patching up those broken walls, retaking East Stairs control, and just like rotating across the map right now, making it hard for Bleed to get a stable foothold across the map.
He didn't see the Asami, but he heard the Keeper Barrier go off, and he's like, there is someone here.
Has rotated off in the meantime, though. As we see both teams trying to gain some control. That Keeper Barrier might have actually been the telltale sign about where this Asami is located, about where Philipbox is actually headed. And of course, they need to try and punch that wall so they can break it and they can actually start going for a bit of a double push, but it's such a dangerous thing to do. And as he rotates back into the office, well, that gives the opportunity now to start opening up. But there's actually a second player that has retaken the position. The F-nets to go off as well are definitely a bit of a warning sign as we do see Bleed trying to collapse in around the east stairs.
Yeah, it's tough. You gotta go up now with confidence, win this gunfight, and Default Cam is still up. They don't care. It's not being much right now. Hertz finds the first kill, but they're looking for more. Both teams chasing one another. Red Pink's coming out, but both teams seem rather clueless at this moment. Mentalist, he keeps looking towards east stairs, but no one is there right now. They've fallen mostly back towards the bomb side.
And there was someone there just a second ago. It was Hertz just quickly saying hello and just falling off again, but time is just going to be running out on this one. It's going to be a 4-2 in favor of W7m as it's only up to Mentalist. He will find a kill for his efforts, maybe even a second as he goes forward, but will he find more than that? The answer is going to be no. Fist bumps are being handed out. Still 2 rounds on the board. They might have wanted to go for that third. but it's not the end of the day. There is still a very good opportunity now to go to defense. I mean, 4-2 is kind of that split where we're at right now statistically. So we could be headed towards an overtime situation.
Always possible. Defending border is kind of awkward because if you... The playstyle is just so unique. If you are good at defending border, you will look so strong. But at the same time, if you are a weak border defense team, you will also fall apart. You're forced to scatter out quite thin. It's hard to play as close together as, for example, Oregon. You gotta make more decisions on the fly, take more risky gunfights, and it's kind of like when Coastline was in the map pool. As a defender, you have to kind of fight your way through the map instead of strategically relying on wall denies or plant denies, etc. Due to the nature of how open the map simply is from a fundamental standpoint. Bleed, they will start things very different than that of W7m. They're bringing a fair bit of utility here. Mute jammers, Maestro Evil Eye cameras, and the Goyo canisters as well.
I'm looking at the lineup.
You're liking that lineup right now?
It's like we're gonna continue where you failed.
It's like we're gonna show you how to actually do this take.
Brittany Ash, you don't have an issue with the grenades.
Exactly. No cast of barricades, no issues there. Now, I love seeing fast rounds on border. I think it's very fun to watch, and like, I mean, you can replicate this in your rank stacks fairly easily as well from watching like
very
this.
relatable, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like it transfers pretty well one-to-one. You might be a worse shot, but strategically, it's pretty simple.
But it's the thing, like you still need good coordination, but you don't need the 3-minute, like 40-second focus that goes with it to pull it off, right?
Yep.
So it's like you just need to be on point for like 40, 50 seconds, something like that, and you can already win the round on the back of that. So is a reverse shield placement there, and then another one in front of that.
They are setting up, like they're taking their sweet time here.
Yeah, but like look at that, they've placed both the shields and claymores out there.
So if Osa, oh, he's gonna plant still. Okay, so take out one shield, give a backup spare for postman as well. Bring that in. Turret's Warden, but playing inside Archive, so no long line of sight. Hurts downstairs, can pop the hatch and do vertical destruction. We'll have to wait 20 seconds though. Goyo canister was popped. Nothing will happen as of yet.
So much time though.
It is a lot of time, and C4 is primed and ready. The question is there an Evil Eye inside Archives that can share the intel? The answer is most likely yes, because Ash is downstairs. She cannot deal with it herself, at least.
Now, what we might see is actually the repellent from Sandwich at the moment they go for the execute, just to be that little bit of a distraction move. So JV92 could have a really important job as the C4 goes over. Doesn't actually quite get it, but the Evil Eye will be able to get some shots off. Now, they set themselves up with the Osa, are going to go for the plant. Hurd is able to find 2 kills themselves. They quickly have to go off the plant before they continue themselves, as Filopox will be able to clean up just a little bit more with that bearing 9. Mentalist drops as well. Turd, the last man standing. He was the Warden. He was supposed to be the counter, but his entire team fell apart around him, and it is going to be W7m expanding on their scoreline with a pretty decent plant here.
And you look at that round, you go, where is the weakness for W7m? Okay, if you hit the C4, if you take down the planter, sure enough, whatever. But strategically, they cover everything. Vertically downstairs, comes up the main stairs. The plant cover is perfect. Osa has a shield. That no one can C4 you from below. There's no retakes possible. Evil Eye got shot by the glass through the smoke. There's just so few answers to these scenarios in the round, and it was such a clean take. I mean, Hurts finding 2 kills early on certainly helps there, but even from the plant point of view, they couldn't stop that whatsoever.
No, for sure, and like maybe if they would have held onto the C4 a little bit longer, but then they wouldn't have gone for the plant. Like you wanna bait that C4 that's playing close, you know it's there, and you're not gonna go for the plant unless you hear that C4 rip and go.
And you're working on a timer because you only have X amount of smoke grenades, right? So if you smoke, you kind of need to like somewhat commit.
Yeah, of course.
You can't smoke, wait 20 seconds for a C4 that never comes because then you have those smokes next
time.
time.
Yeah, so you bait. And
exactly, it's kind of awkward.
But success was found there, and instantly the glass digging in deep rather than staying in the back also kind of helped, because it is an angle they don't really expect you to have. Smoke covered it off, so...
I'm not gonna show it again though. They were hovering glass for a bit in the Osa, but yeah, they're gonna be boring about it. More stable lineup here. The IQ, the Jaguar. It's nowhere near as fun to watch. But it might be what they need in this round, and in good old W7m fashion, they will go extremely quick.
For a second I was afraid he was about to be swung, and indeed he is. A little bit of damage done to Turd. There's an AFNet around the corner, so he couldn't really take the fight to him either, because he could be blinded when he does. So it's really that awkward moment where it's like, I can't take 20 steps forward, but if I turn back and run, I will be shot in the back. Yeah. So I need to be vigilant about what's happening next.
Discipline, of course, game theory, understanding when you are overstaying your welcome. Very important note here, no split-second decisions. Nasby, roaming back into Armory. They surrendered most of security, now falling back towards the second stage of this hold. Armory and Archives instead, but W7m, they're all across the map. They're playing on all fronts, all sides. The FNATs, they keep exposing their locations and force them to move to a different location.
Almost got himself shot as well. Some shots coming through the wall, which didn't quite connect. And Eric's finding himself inside of 90 now. Now, the wall has been reinforced. He's checking CC. It's completely clear. All right, we might not have to actually take those fights as Philippbox finds Mentalist as well. In the meantime, from down below, and hey, he is already on the site. That is going to be quite problematic, but Aston will find him, and suddenly it all turns around into favor of Bleed. I'm not quite sure where that came from. We just saw a man get down, and suddenly his entire team is dead, except for Sadakays.
Like,
is it there's no frost mat.
No, there isn't, but I thought it was. It seems so instantaneous.
It might have just been what I think it is. A super shorty or something just opening up a rotation and finding him, because that's what it sounded like. Just something getting opened up and he just died. It's like the deep funk noise.
Yeah. Chaos, 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 and a
it was a team. Oh, that's how he got down.
Oh,
it was Case who shot him through a wall or floor.
Okay, that's interesting, if you will. Not sure what happened there, but a quick round that gets punished even quicker by Bleed by holding down to the important areas of the map. Well, job well done for them, but that's only going to make the round count 3-5. They still got quite the uphill battle here to send W7m to a loss.
Defenders, protect your bomb.
An uphill battle, that's for sure. But not one they cannot win. They've already proven that W7m has the opportunity to lose maps. All that we need to prove now is that they can lose a series.
Speaking of questions, Hap, you know what R6 is very unique at? Or in?
Dashing and climbing hatches.
He is the fastest operator in the game.
Especially when he uses Ramadesh. Yeah.
That is Parker's favorite line. It used to be. I made fun of it once. He's never said it since.
I mean, he told me that when we were casting earlier, also Border, also when Oryx is around.
Really?
Yeah. He's very, very happy about Oryx.
He really is.
He's very fast.
Oh, man.
And he can jump up a lot of hatches, which there are a lot of on this side.
No, there is. Now you're just a good gun as well. And I mean, even for this case, look at this. Monty's being played.
Yeah.
Biggest counter, arguably one of the biggest counters, is Oryx. Oryx dash into Monty, knock him on his butt, and then you can shoot him right after.
EMP?
Oh, yep, good catch there. It's gonna secure the wall to get opened up, and once you hear or see the Monty, Asfi on the Oryx should be rotating nearby, possibly for a counter, or you establish like a C4 below, a crossfire, because if Nate gets to just walk about this map uncontested, this Monty will take a lot of map control very quickly.
Over just thinking about leaning into the fight, he's like, ready. It's like JV92, bring it back to me. I'm gonna be taking a fight towards you. Nate, though, with that diffuser trying to move in, I think they will, because you see the smoke being loaded right now by the side of the Capitao. Smoke's being tossed in as well by the side of the Monty. He's inside the site. 45 seconds soon on the clock. No one is there indeed. C4 kill will come in for the side of Reap, so it will get the opening, but 45 seconds counting down in W7m's favor. So what can they do about it? A little bit of damage done to Nate as he jumps back out, but I mean, there's no way that you're going to be able to get this counter defuse going.
Oh, that's hard. They're watching the windows, watching above, etc. Sure, they got the man advantage, but they gotta find a stable way to defuse that bomb, and it's not really gonna happen right now because look at this, they're locking onto all of top 4 from the outside balconies.
Why are you still here?
Oh wait, turret. Oh, there is no way.
It's the Monty who's being pushed on for the other side as well, but why are the...
Okay.
So I'm just gonna say, why are the other two still there? If they were actually down on the actual site when the counter defuse was happening, throwing themselves out of the sandwich window, you might have had an opportunity to shoot one in the back, cause a bit of chaos, send the other person down from the balcony so he can put damage down in from the main door. You actually had an opportunity, you could have gone for a defuse there, but like 20 seconds left of the defuser, and you have two people out here on like ventilation upstairs. So not the ventilation it was planted, but like the ventilation.
The issue starts even earlier as well, because if you're playing ventilation defense, like the big weakness is the ventilation portion of the bomb side, like the B bomb side.
Yeah.
to hold that, you just have Armory control. And the worst part is, W7m never took control over Armory.
No, they
They
didn't.
were on the outside Archive's balcony, open up the soft floor between the two portions of top floor. That was it. They droned it. It's clear. Okay, guys, let's just plan. And it's funny because in the very first round, when Bleed defended Armory, they had Warden, they had Maestro, they had Goyo, so much side coverage trying to prevent the plant. In that previous round, no intel, no deny, no C4, no verticality at all. So I feel like they're missing some marks here from the side of Bleed, that they're not as, strategically sound as they were in Oregon. Their read of border isn't quite there.
That definitely was just a mistake on the side of Bleed. Like, they left it wide open. They were completely focused on the east side of the map rather than what is the weakness. And usually you would have someone around on the server stack, you know, around there just dancing, because then you can hold off the main door rush, but you also are aware if someone jumps in, then you can call your team back and also try and do something like a smoke. Would have been a great play for that.
Yeah.
But they just didn't have anything out there. And again, perfectly read by W7m. They just went for it and rightfully won that round. But it's such a shame at Bleed at this stage lose a round like that.
Yeah, and it's an important one as well, right? Because now they're on map and series point with this, so you really don't want to lose out like that. And now the nerves might start building. Like, oh boys, this might be the final round. If we mess up once more, it's over for us, at least for this series. It's still got, of course, got many more games to be played. W7m, they've started slowing things down, playing those 1-2-3s, the APCs, doing some vertical play, applying some pressure, and slowly but surely approaching the side here, and it's very soft. And these Bs going out will confirm there's no one inside Armory on the half wall or close to breach.
Just delayed there. Mentalist trying to find a catch on the player, leans back in and dies as a result. KZ also will be finding turret, and it's looking really strong for W7m right now at the end of this potential round to come through. Hoven goes down, the plan soon, counting down in favor of W7m as well, but it won't even get that far. It's a flawless round, and W7m, even though they've lost a single map against Bleed, will be coming out victorious. It might not have been in the cleanest fashion they wanted to. We said it before, they just wanted to get this one out of the way with and focus on the other opponents, but instead Bleed, they put up a hell of a fight.
They did, and how many teams can say, hey, we took a map off W7m? Because historically last year,
not many this year.
Not many have, you know? It's a rarity indeed. And Oregon, it is one of those 50-50 maps, but map aside, Bleed did play a really good game of Oregon before.
They definitely did, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to be bringing for the rest of their tournament, because this was just their first match. We also said that, like, you're getting your toughest one out of the way right now. You've proven that you can compete with W7m, that you can take a map off W7m, that means they have a really good opportunity to actually make it outside of their groups.
It's true. It's a great start for them, and it's funny because those of them, they weren't smiling at any point, I think, in this series. And then when they're going out to, like, thank Bleed for the game and seeing Julio, their former coach, there are big smiles on their face. Like, there's game time, those of them, then there is outside of game time, those of them.
Yeah, of course, and it's always, you know, you need to find that balance. You need to have the focus when it's there, but you need to be able to quickly let go after that, because if you stay into that focus that too long, you're gonna find yourself so exhausted. And it's still a long tournament. It's only day 2, and they're expected to be finalists, maybe even the winners of this. So they cannot just go in all out the entire time, as you mentioned before.
So what's next for Bleed? Well, they get to rest now. They get to study for tomorrow. They come back stronger rather. And same thing with W7m. It's just day after day after day, you'll keep fighting for your place in this tournament. And as time progresses, at some point, teams will be going home.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I mean, everybody's gunning for W7m, right? And they've definitely shown some weaknesses here. But is that due to the fact that they maybe disrespected Bleed a bit too much? Where they're like, we are better, we do not need to go in hard, which is why they lost those rounds and lost the map? Or is this because Bleed legitimately found the weakness of W7m and they just couldn't close the gap in time?
We'll have to wait and see, right? Because we need a bigger sample size for this to really, truly shine through. And, you know, you gotta warm up doing tournaments. You start off slow, you ramp it up, you learn things throughout. Also, the meta. There has been small changes with Tubu, for example, who wasn't played in this series at all, for example, that we have yet to fully see come to life because it's such a recent addition to the scene. Same with, like, nades no longer being cookable. Nades were a big thing in the past. Now they're almost never played, and this will impact how teams perform, what the strats are gonna be.
it's definitely going to be an interesting change, or well, mostly W7M, as they've dominated the meta previously, now finding themselves with quite some big changes that they have to be ready for. And of course, they've proven that they so far are doing quite well in the tournament.
Yeah.
But they're only going to be facing like tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher opponents as those game days.
Yeah. And honestly, I want to say Mentalist, low-key my MVP in my heart, you know, dropping really, I get a really bad first map of Clubhouse, popped off on Oregon, and then, you know, I can't remember his score on Border because it's kind of what it like, right? It's kind of happened, it was over. But like, what a big show up on a map that mattered, and also the turn from going 3-10 to 15-8. Actually, that's great.
Yeah, for sure. JV92, you know, he started to really get into it during the last map. He was definitely starting to get a couple more kills. Might have still been able to negatively impact their fantasy roster, but who knows? But W7M really started to get into it well in that last round. And I think that has to be acknowledged as well, because there was some good reads from them as well.
Yeah.
Especially that the last round where they realized, oh, everybody's on the east side. How about we attack the west?
Yeah, it's so free. Just take the bombs on control. And there it is. That is not a lot of kills and not a lot of deaths, actually.
So I think there's been more opening here.
Not just that, but going 2-2 in 10 rounds.
That as well.
Something is not adding up on the numbers here. Either way, I mean, the story is still there. W7m, they have more kills, they have higher cost, and they have more first kills. So despite numbers not being 1-to-1 accurate, it does show the story of one team was stronger than the other.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, this one got closer, but still wasn't close. So W7M dominated in this map. We just have to put it like that. And of course, there was some slight hiccups maybe on the side of Bleed. They called that the grenade.
Yeah.
Did it bounce back? Did it roll a bit too far?
We'll never find out.
Did it just not do enough damage in the fragmentation when who knows where? We never know. And we also never know how that round would have played out.
Exactly.
And how the rest of the game would have played out if they were able to get that one. But it is what it is. We do have the overall stats, however. I'm not quite sure if those are slightly skewed as well due to how the previous stats looked. I'm looking at the Fox is the MVP for this series as it currently stands.
Yeah, really? I feel like Casey really popped off, to be fair. But you know what?
So we had Herds do a lot of spawn peaks, but then he got found out. Then we had Casey take over and go crazy inside. But I think Philippox has been that consistent factor who's just been playing on the side, not doing anything crazy, just playing it like normally, picking up kills here and there, and just basically putting himself above like that.
Yeah, and I like looking at the cost here because I call cost like consistency, kills, objective, survival, and trade, a lot of different factors. When a team has a significant lower cost than your opponent, typically that is because like you are the worst team. You're not getting as much value out of your life every single round. And we see W7m, besides Hurts and JV, just being like 61, 64, whereas Bleed, they're in the 40s. You know, 45 is the top mark here. Not getting as much value every single time.
No, that's it. And for those of you that don't know, cost basically states, have I in this round killed someone, played the objective, so that's a defuse or a counter defuse, survived, or traded, have been traded, I believe it is.
I think it's both,
so it's like I mean, if you have traded someone, you got to kill. So, you know, you have been traded. And if that's a yes, and that counts towards your total. And then by the end, it's the amount of rounds you've done something divided by the total amount of rounds is the percentage that comes out. But that's all the back stuff out there. What's more important is the standings. W7m, of course, are finding themselves in first place, 7 points. They have lost a point against Lee today. Virtus.pro will be second, 5 points out there. Liquid following up right after with 3. And Bleed find themselves with 1. But they've only played a single game so far. And 80 on 0 have played 2 so far and lost both. So they are definitely going to be looking at this and like, our game against Bleed could be deciding who's going home or not.
Imagine Bleed sending home M80.
That would be insane.
Yeah, you're thinking superstar roster versus like a more unknown team in Bleed. I am looking very much forward to that if that is the case.
Now for tomorrow, you see our Stream A and Stream B scheduled to go through. If I would have to say any of the games that pop out on Stream A, it would be Virtus.pro, W7m. I think that's going to be like one of those amazing ones to see as well. VP, of course, running in second. W7m currently first in their group. If I would have to go over to Stream B, I mean,
Bliss
Bliss is apparently playing twice. I don't know how that's going to be working out. I'm actually looking forward towards Sonic's Falcons, because Falcons playing with the full roster again. They're going to have a full night's sleep, not just play right after they landed. And I believe they won earlier as well. So there's definitely some good opportunity there for them to, well, upset Sonics.
That's a fair point, but Bliss faced this in the rematch of the previous major where Bliss was 1 round away from sending SSG home and taking main stage themselves, basically. So I am looking forward to a revenge match.
Looking forward to that one as well. I'm actually having a day off tomorrow. I can just watch all those games from the comfort of the couch in the green room.
Lovely. I'll see you right there, because I'll be working tomorrow, sadly.
I'm going to be seeing you walk in and out, indeed. But that was it for us for today. Appreciate all of you sticking around and rooting for Bleed as well, as everybody wanted to check that one off. And of course, see that APAC upset happen. But make sure to tune in again tomorrow, as we will be back with more Siege.
Oh, we're not done just yet. There's
That's
one
true.
last gift.
There's one last gift.
We keep giving here. The Intel replay, of course. The highlight of the message we just saw. Let's get that first before we end off the stream.